And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sydney Dragway. Tonight is Race for Real, sponsored by Aeroflow Performance. My name's Pat Elliott. Thanks for joining us on the live stream, both Facebook, YouTube, or if you're here live, I'm joined by Stu White, the Pocket Rocket. How are you, mate?
Very well, Pat. It is great to be back up here in the box tonight. And I'll tell you what, it's a great night for racing. So if you're thinking about coming out, guys, get your friends, tell them to come out. The track is in top condition. Conditions out here, Pat, even though it's been hot today, there's actually a nice breeze out there which is cooling it down a lot. So we're going to see some quick times.
Spot on, Stu. There is plenty going on. We've just had a couple of Evos run down the strip, which is a great way to start off the night. It's been Evo City out here at Sydney Dragway in the past few weeks with records tumbling. But as you'll see, pulling up to the line now, we've got the boys from BYP in that little MR2 that's got some K power under the rear hatch. So let's see what they can turn out. It's a new setup, so a few things to get sorted, but pretty cleanly away, a 1.860 foot. He's going to grab a few gears. There's a sequential box in that thing, and we know that there's a lot of potential on board. So sequential gearbox, precision turbo, rear engine, rear wheel drive, all these things equal a lot of fun on the strip, Stu.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, I happened to be at World Time Attack this year and really had a good look at the way BYP operate in particular. I know they've been doing a lot of circuit work primarily, but you know, it is great to see Benny and the team back here at Sydney Dragway, and in particular Sydney Dragway and Aeroflow Race for Real as well. So look, BYP, they were a big part of Race for Real a number of years ago. Took some time away. Obviously they've had this car for a while.
Yep.
But you know, with what they've been doing with their K-Series motors, particularly for World Time Attack, I think a lot of people now have stepped up and taken notice and gone, well, hang on a second. Now the Hondas are starting to come back again. And I think BYP have got a big part to thank for that. Yeah,
well, definitely they've got the runs on the board. The guys at BYP, JDM Yard, they're all some of the early adopters of the K-Series platform here in Australia. So, yeah, definitely great to see them back out at the track. And just, you know, putting their creations to the test. So great to see.
Now that Club Sport has got a big set, or the sports wagon I should say, has got a big set of Sportsman radials on the back of it, and massive turn of the tyres there, Pat, all the way past 60 foot.
Yeah, he's definitely left a good set of 11s down there, mate. That's for sure. So we know how straight it was tracking for the first 60 feet of the run. Got a little bit squirrely after that, but that's a first timer. So he's got the. Would you say he's got a taste for it now? He's got the bug. I reckon, like we've said before, he's going to get back to the staging lanes and say, I know what I can do better. I know I can go faster.
Well, it's funny because a lot of the quick VF Commodores, so to speak, that we've seen out here at Sydney Dragway, primarily they've been the sedans. We haven't really seen a super quick sports wagon. So it will be interesting to see whether, with a little bit of tuning on that car as it goes along, whether they can get that car running into the nines like they do with the VFs.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too difficult. You know, I mean, if that I didn't see what was under the bonnet, but if it's got a nice drag pack sort of wheels and tyres on the back of it, it's, you know, look, the flavour of the month is Harrop Superchargers on those things. You know, whether it's a 2650 or something different, there's, you know, all the equipment there to get it down the track in under 10 seconds, no doubt about that.
And I think it might benefit them too, because as we know, primarily with drag racing, not that we see a lot of them, but the wagons tend to lend themselves to drag racing with the weight shift because of the way that they are designed compared to a sedan. Not taking anything away from the sedans because, damn, they're quick. I mean, when they're running into the nines, that's quick. But with the sports wagons, you know, there's so much potential with that vehicle.
Yeah, I think there's, you know, potential for both, of course, but just, you know, being a wagon means it's cool.
That's right.
So it's not that sedans aren't cool, but, you know, the wagon's definitely a fan. It's always nice to see a long roof, you know.
Absolutely. Of course, we haven't seen a real you know, badass long roof since probably Michael King back in the old top door slammer days when he had the hearse.
Yep.
He first brought that car out of Eastern Creek back in the early 90s. Unfortunately,
Steve Greentree.
Yeah, unfortunately the car's probably still in pieces, I think.
Potentially, yeah. There's definitely a couple of cool ones over in the States, sort of, you know, like long roofs pretending to be pro mods, or pro mods pretending to be long roofs. So I think it's probably the way to do it. You know, you got Swamp Thing, which is a bit of a no prep, you know, NPK sort of style sort of deal, and you know, the S box of Doom that was a drag week challenger a couple of years ago there. So yeah, it's definitely some pretty cool wagons out there. So hopefully we can see a few more, but. We've got a few cars in the lanes so far, Stu, but I think everyone's making their way out here to Sydney Dragway, which will be good. I'd like to see what this hardtop Falcon has in lane 3 there. That looks pretty tidy. So, and we know that there's quite a few cars out the back that are getting themselves ready. So it's great to see. As you mentioned, Stu, I think the weather's pretty good. It is a little warm out here still, but the track's in great shape because we've got plenty of temperature in it.
Absolutely.
And the little breeze is just taking the edge off for the spectators. And I think as the sun drops its way further down on the western side of the track, I think the temperature's going to come down, and all the engines and the spectators are going to breathe a little easier.
Well, as we saw last week, you know, it was a little bit on the hot side last week. However, you know, when we see these four-wheel drive Evos come out, and Team Karen come out and run an 865, and then Elite Auto House come out later on in the night, when the temperature dropped a little bit, it actually turned a little bit cool, but the track still had great temp in it, and they went 863.
863, yeah, at 173 miles per hour, I think it was, from memory. So yeah, definitely, everyone's chipping away and just battling it out for that Evo radial record. Yeah. So, yeah, I won't be surprised if a couple of those guys turn up tonight at some point as the sun's gone down. So, well,
if anything, I think the conditions this week are probably a little bit better than last week. So, you know, look, hopefully they'll come out. Our racer down there goes 11:29 in the rocket lane, 125 miles an hour. As we've got Psycho about to come out, first timer, and another first timer as well in a Falcon. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Aeroflow Race for Real, and a big thank you to Aeroflow Performance for getting behind Race for Real here at Sydney Dragway, the place where excitement lives. And for your car parts, guys, make sure you do check out the Aeroflow website, or grab yourself a copy of the Aeroflow Performance Parts Catalogue.
Just some light reading there, Stu.
Oh, there's plenty of reading. It's like an encyclopedia.
13,000 part numbers in that thing. So, yeah, it's not bad. But, mate, that long wheelbase VE, I think, or WM that just ran down there, that was a bit of competition, I think, for Eden from Area 51. I'm surprised he's not here. I'm sure his radar just went off that another long wheelbase WM just went down the track in a low 11-second time.
Yeah, well, he's got a bit of something to aim for. I'll tell you what, they're exciting things to come for Area 51.
Well, I hope so. They're great supporters of the Race for Real, mate, so we've got to keep them going. But let's have a look at this Falcon down here, this green Falcon. Not to overshadow that very cool Evo wagon as well. Speaking about long roofs, it's probably one of the more rare wagon models out there, definitely in Australia. So good to see them out here at the track.
Yeah,
Falcon
absolutely.
Feeling its way out by the looks of things.
Yeah, Yakuza Motorsport, I believe that Evo wagon is from, as they go almost side by side through the finishing line at 13.1 to a 14.00. As we got another Evo about to come out up against this very nice looking VC or VB Commodore.
Yeah, I never get it right either.
No,
mate.
I don't either.
VB, VC, VH, one of those.
That's where we need Mr. Holden, Mark
That's
Thomas.
right, yeah. Mark will be here yelling on the other side of the screen, I'm sure. It's a VB because of the tail lights. But that's all right. We've got to give everyone something to talk about, don't we?
I'd like to say g'day to everybody who's watching via the live stream. Of course, our regulars that watch as well. Cliff, g'day Cliff. Hope you're well, buddy. Panel Van Man, g'day Panel Van Man. Good to see you back. And of course, BA Skidder. How you going, guys? And Caucasian Debris. Of course, later on tonight, guys, we do have burnouts as well. And there is one burnout car that is already here. And I believe there's about probably 3 or 4 that are possibly coming out. Well, I know 2 are definitely coming. Zero F's, Reese Forrester, who was here skidding at Aeroflow Tyre Thrashing Thursday last week. I do believe he's coming out.
Oh, an aggressive launch from the Commodore down there off the line. Got VPR Auto sticker on the rear window there, Stu. So hopefully they can dial that launch in, and we'll see something happening. Talk about aggressive. How strong is that four-door Holden down there? 75 Holden. The number plate, I like it. I
was going to say, years ago, Pat, we used to have a Holden Statesman, similar body shape to that when I was young, and I still remember it. But so it's good to see it out and about. But this should be a good race because it's up against the VL. Now, I don't know whether this VL has got the whole V8 in it or it's got the RB motor in it. I'm guessing it's an RB, 6-cylinder. But keep your eye on the old Holden, as Pat said. Big, aggressive Burnout, 1.87 in the 60, showing the young gun how it's done, and goes on through with 12.00 with an 812 miles per hour. That is pretty good.
Yeah, Stu, we've got 2 corrections already. Great run from the Holden there in the rocket lane, but VH for the VPR back to car. So we got. We weren't sure on that one, but also VK in the Aeroflow lane that's just running then. Definitely V8, offer a 12-second pass as well. So those guys will be a nice matched pair if they can run together tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a good drag race, and it was good to see the big difference between the 1975 Holden and the more 80s/early 90s Commodore out there as well, the VK. So we've got this Club Sport, or the Wagon, I should say, out. I think they learned a lot from that first pass with those big tyre marks out past 60 foot. So see how it can work. And that's a much better launch there from him. 1.71 in the 60.
Definitely a much better launch, but it did not like the shift from first to second gear there. Is bumping around. All right, here this should be an entertaining run. Power tune backed, Street King, the GTI Nissan Pulsar. Known in some circles as the world's breast GTIR. Those of you that know will know. Let's see if Akin can get this car down. We've got Chair from Power Tune just around the corner here at Huntingwood. Yep. They've had a lot of success with this car out at Roll Racing. And let's see if they can gently off the line here. Definitely feeling things out. This GTIR makes a lot of power. As you can see it doing the what I've termed the Evo shuffle down the track.
Absolutely.
Fighting the torque through all 4 tyres down there. 1274 at 113 mile per hour is not indicative of what that car is going to turn out later on tonight. So.
No, that SR20 is extremely potent, and it's great to see Aiken out here because I haven't seen him for a little while.
Yep, absolutely. Really excited to see what that combination's got. Paddle shifted, X-shift gearbox, I believe, from memory. Big turbo. All the fruit in the SR on that one from memory. I believe it is still an SR in that car. They've been doing a lot of development on that. Plenty of nitrous, full Motec suite. Yeah, you name it. That thing's got it. Can't wait to see it run.
He's also a top guy to have a conversation with as well. I've spoken to him a couple of times over at the Motorsport Park and here at the track as well. And, as you mentioned, Power Tune, who are great supporters of Aeroflow Race for Real and a big customer base as well. And it just goes to show by their work. One man's got a good customer base is Benny Tran in the K-swapped MR2, 1.57 in the 60.
Black tracking 15760 through the start of that pass. So yeah, definitely a little bit of testing and tuning going on with the BYP 700 MR2 down there today. So let's see some more of that. All right,
we've got the Calais. Is it Calais or is it the Statesman?
I think it's a Grange, possibly.
Oh, Grange.
Can't see the front of it. Is that a Grange, Benny? Can we see the front of that car? Or is it a Caprice, maybe? Either way, long wheelbase, VEVF generation, Holden in the Aeroflow lane, and we've got an FGX in Falcon in the Rocket lane. So Holden versus Ford rivalry. Let's see what can happen.
Well, I must admit, the last few weeks out here at Aeroflow Race for Real, the Falcons have actually been putting on quite a good show.
Definitely.
There's been some very quick ones. Admittedly, most of them have been AUs, but, the Fords have really stuck it up to the Holdens. Having said that, the Holden just runs on through with 11.11 at 125 miles per hour. So there's a lot in it.
They've definitely got the launch sorted out.
Absolutely.
On that car. So for a big, long, heavy wheelbase, long wheelbase, heavy car, they've definitely got that sorted out. So it's very nice. Next up to the line, we've got Psycho in the Aeroflow lane, yellow VE Commodore, and we've got the Envy Green BA XR6 Turbo in the Rocket lane. SS on the reaction time, but the XR6, the Barra Power, is leading the way down to the track. It's going to run on through for an 11.11 with a 1.11 at 131 mile per hour. That's a great ET. To a 13.22 with a 6 at 108 mile per hour.
Hey, he's not too far off going sub 2 seconds in the 60 either. So
no, that's right. There's
a lot in that car.
A lot to happen there. We've got the VH back at the line, so let's see if they can't get it off the line a little bit quicker.
VPR Auto, they've been doing a great job. Now, that's not a good look.
No, it looks like Will, the IHRA official, is down there having a chat with Benny with the MR2, so they've I think they've clearly seen seen enough to know that that car probably requires a few more safety items in it, which we want everyone to come out and have a good bit of fun. But speaking of safety items, this HQ here's got a nice little parachute on the back, and there's some sort of power adder sticking out of the bonnet, if I'm not mistaken. On that one, so I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah, this thing is tough. It's been out here a few times out at the track, and I'll tell you what, when you're down on the start line and you see this thing off the line, look at that big turn of the tyres there for the big Monaro. I think it's a Monaro actually, but 2.32 in the 60. Had to get off it, and he's still almost side by side with the Evo and still wins the race with 13.25 to a 13.03. That thing is an animal. We love animals here on a Wednesday night at Aeroflow Race for Real.
It's definitely very spicy. So a bit of a side mount supercharger, I think, going on there, which is good to see. So can't wait for that to come back around. All right, so a bit of a later model Evo 10 coming up to the line here, 4B engine on board, and everyone's favourite EK Civic. I think I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say everyone's favourite, but what I really mean is my favourite Civic, EK. I don't know if it's K-swapped, don't know if it's B-series, not sure, but definitely just both cars easing into the staging beams there. Pre-stage, full stage for the Civic. You get the Evo to just edge forward a little more. And as always, folks, if it's your first time here or you're a little bit nervous about running a new combination, the track staff, Sydney Dragway officials, are all there to guide you in. They're going to help you. There's no rush. We want to make sure that you're all set and ready to go, and you're going to have a lot of fun and a safe run. So don't be worried if it takes you a little while to get into the beams or whatever. Don't think about anyone watching or what everyone else reckons. You just get in here, make sure everything's correct, and off you go. The Civic's going to lead the way home down there. It's going to cross the line for a 13.79 at 99 mile per hour, and the Evo for a 14.1 at 95 mile per hour. Two safe runs. Both of those drivers are going to come back around and look to improve, Stu.
And now we're talking my language, Pat. We've got a Rotary here tonight as well, complete with the Venetians in the back of it. I saw it on the screen going through in the scrutineering. Oh, man, I wish we had, like, track mics who could just, like, pump that beautiful sounding Mazda through your speakers.
I'm pretty sure we're still going to hear it, even with the limited track mics that we do have here at the track, Stu.
All right, well, the Falcon has got the jump. The little Mazda got to wind up the boost. Here he goes. 2.19 in the 60. Short wheelbase, high horsepower, equals fun. And the Falcon running on through with the 15.57 to an 11.97 at 129 there for the Mazda. Nice to have a little bit of old school here tonight. Speaking about old school, is that we got, well, obviously we've got Marinaro, but we've got some new school here, and just looking on the screen up here, Pat, that looks like a pretty wild-looking Mustang.
It's definitely got something going on with it, that's for sure.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen that car before.
No, well, we're about to. Okay, might have made a pass on Sunday, possibly, Benny. All right, Very cool. Well, great to see them back if it is. If it's the first time here, great to see them either way. Doesn't matter, so we're happy to see that. We've got the VK run through for a 13.0 at 109, and I think that was the earlier model statesman, a 15.0 at 91 mile per hour with the white Evo. I want to say it's an Evo 9 from here. It's always difficult to tell with the tail lights from the box, and we've got that long wheelbase Holden again, looking to chip away at that lower 11-second ET.
Well, I can see on the staging lane, Cam, that it looks like a Skyline has just come off a tilt tray.
That's always a promising sign.
An R34 by the look of it.
Looks like an R34 GTR. That's usually party time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we've had, as we've mentioned before, we've had the Evos out here, and they've been doing a fantastic job in their street radial class, Pro Street, as we affectionately call it. But, I reckon the GTR guys are probably going to sit back and go, yeah, right, you guys are quick. Let's go.
Look, you've got to really say that I haven't seen an Evo run a 7. So there's, so GTR guys have definitely got that on board. I mean, 6s obviously for the real leaders, June 2 and King 32, everything from the Batuk stable, and the guys at MSM are chasing that down as well. There's plenty of competition in the GTR world. There's no doubt about that. And we know they've all been off doing a bit of roll racing and all that sort of thing. But I think it's about time that we see them back here. So hey, there's that wild looking Mustang is got out of the hole very aggressively, but a little bit of a miss shift I think on the way down there. But that's all right. First pass of the night. It's going to get everything figured out.
Well, number plate is Boss Me, so you want to. I think you have a bit of go to back it up because the Mustang scene's gone a little bit quiet at the moment too. Maybe people got stuff in the build, so maybe 2024 we might see more of our Ford Mustang owners make their way out here to Aeroflow Race for Real and put it down.
There's definitely a lot of potential from the Coyote platform, Stu, and I think because it's such a new platform and so effective as an engine for making power, especially with a bit of forced induction on board, that the development has happened so fast with the Coyote platform. I'm pretty sure we saw Brett LaSala in the US with the Snot Rocket recently run a record time well into the 6s with that combination. And while there's been a lot of R&D on Brett's combination, that it's still not like wildly different to what the Coyote is. I mean, it doesn't have a ridiculous amount of cams. It doesn't have. Pretty sure it's still standard ported heads. It's a rod and piston package, like the factory blocks, all that sort of thing. So huge amount of development that's been happening on the Coyote platform, and it's just going to take a little while for that to filter through, or sometimes when you have so much development happen in the US, we're always on a little bit of a 6-month delay, with the new technology and the tuning techniques and all that sort of thing when it comes to Australia. That often people might have a direction planned for their build, then someone runs a ridiculous time or does something different, and they go, oh, pull the pin on that plan, let's jump back over and try that, So I think, there's a little bit of a delay with the Coyote stuff, but I'm sure that, people are going to get their get themselves figured out and get it all happening again.
Well, it's interesting. Last night I was on my way home, and there was a person drive past me in the Mustang, and to be honest, they were giving it a bit of a, I wouldn't say thrashing, but they gave it a bit of a hit.
A bit of shtick.
But it wasn't a V8. It was actually one of the 4-cylinder Mustangs.
EcoBoost thing.
Yeah, and I have heard on the grapevine that the 4-cylinder Mustangs are actually quite good when it comes to the tuning side of it. So I'm interested for someone to grab a hold of one of those, bring it out here to Sydney Dragway and just see how quick they can go.
Well, I believe that the record currently is 8:58.
Wow.
At 156 mile per hour. And the only reason I know that, not because I'm an EcoBoost Mustang enthusiast, but I just happened to see a post from, I think it was Precision Racing, earlier today, that someone in the States, obviously full house engine, all that sort of thing, and a big old turbo hanging off the side of it. But yeah, look, I mean, if it's got cylinders or whatever, you can make it fast.
Absolutely.
That's the great thing about it. So, We've got a couple of dual cab utes out here, Stu. It's not even diesel night.
Oh, I know.
It's great to see the guys out here.
It is great to see them. Now, on the subject of the import scene.
Yes.
Now, John, who's watching the live stream, yes, John, roll racing is definitely where it's at the moment for the import scene. But having said that, you know, the KTM scene is now starting to take off as well. As a matter of fact, Cherry Tuning up at Hornsby here in New South Wales, who I get on quite well with, Tristan and the gang. They're actually still going to be concentrating on the KTM stuff, but now they're also going to look at the Ford STs, Ford Focus STs, and they're going to look at the GR Yaris as part of their business model now. So
yeah, well, both a couple of models that we've seen plenty of out here. So yeah, definitely keen to see what they can bring to the table out at Sydney Dragway. So. And then back to the traditional models out here at Sydney Dragway. We've got that classic 75 four-door in the Aeroflow lane. A little bit more tame off the line this time. Runs through for a 12 at 108. But the Wagon's definitely found its feet, Stu. 1063 at 133 miles per hour is probably what we were expecting. I think a little more from that VF Wagon down there. So they're working it out.
Yeah, well, 1.73 in the 60. That definitely helped them out on that as well. Now, we've got this little Mazda, but we've got the red lights flashing. We've got a track walker or one of our fire crew just down the very end of the track in the Aeroflow lane, just having a quick look. I tell you, friends, guys, we are racing tonight. There's plenty of room in the lanes, and we do have burnouts on a little bit later. So get out here and support Aeroflow Race for Real. It's a great event. I cannot wait for 2024. I'm getting excited already, and it's not even Christmas yet. I am like super pumped. So
spot on, Stu. I mean, it's
wait.
It's a great time. It's a great time. We can't wait. But we're just making sure that everything is safe down in the big end. Looks like we've got the track crew going down. While the guys get all that sorted out, we might just duck off and see a couple of ads, I think. So we'll be right back here at Sydney Dragway for Aeroflow Race for Real.
BikeReview.com.au is Australia's leading website for performance and modified motorcycles. BikeReview.com.au is the only motorcycle-focused website to feature motorcycle drag racing on a regular basis. And in the words of editor Jeff Ware, our involvement with Sydney Dragway is our way of putting back into one of our favourite sports. BikeReview.com.au. Stay informed, up to date and entertained thanks to Para News. Para News is Parramatta and the Cumberland area's leading free and local newspaper, delivering the best content from on-the-ground journalists and providing businesses with direct access to potential customers. News, sport, entertainment, puzzles and so much more. Para News really is the heartbeat of Parramatta and Cumberland, and it's out every Tuesday. Get your free copy at selected locations in the area or check out paranews.com.au.
Well, a little Mazda, an 1169 at a 129. We're just waiting for this car to make its way around the corner, and then we'll send this Evo 10 down the track. Which, for me, as an import enthusiast, because, I mean, obviously, the fours is what I love. I love the Japanese domestic market, JDM scene. Have always done and always will. But what gets me interested though, Pat, about these Evo 10s is that for the most part, most of the quick ones that you see are either Evo 5, a 7, or sometimes maybe an 8. But I haven't seen a lot of very quick Evo 10s. Now, I don't know whether that's because it's a weight thing or power to weight or something different.
Definitely a different platform. You know, I mean, the Evo 4 through to 9 was basically like essentially the same platform, you know, engine drivetrain for so long that there was so much development with the 4G63 platform, you know, the transfer cases, the gearboxes, everyone knows what sort of makes them tick and whatever else. And then, you know, the 10 came along and they changed that. So they went to the 4B11 engine. So, you know, bit of a different thing. The turbo went from the front to the back. That freaked everyone out. Not that that really has any impact on, you know, performance necessarily, but it has its own challenges. You know, I mean, with a 4G engine, you've got the turbo mounted on the front, which makes it easier to fit a larger turbo. You can go to a half-size radiator, you know, Honda style, and then put a big turbo next to it. Like, you know, a lot of guys are having success with the new 76 sort of millimeter range and whatnot. That's an 80 millimeter range. That's from Precision and Garrett and whoever else. So that goes on there. That makes it a lot more difficult on an Evo 10 on a 4B when you've got to mount the turbo at the back of the engine, so in between the block and the firewall. Yes, makes it a little bit tricky to get a large frame turbo in there. Definitely some different gearboxes as well. The car is heavier, not a great deal, I don't believe, from a 9 to a 10, but still, yeah, it's just a different look at it. They weren't on sale for as long as the previous ones, of course. You know, we had one Evo 10, and then Mitsubishi pulled the pin on the Evo platform. So, whereas, yeah, the previous platform, Evo 4, Evo 5, Evo 6, Evo 7, Evo 8, Evo 8 MR, Evo 9. So plenty of time for people to work on those platforms. So, yeah, I think there's definitely people out there that are working on it. We've got, you know, I know in Sydney, RP Motorsports, you know, Jerry and the crew down there are definitely doing a lot of work with the 4B platform. That's what they specialise in. They've got a couple of, I think they had an SST car, so the auto, technically auto box, running out here on the weekend and you know, running some really respectable times. So, you know, it's like anything, Stu. If you get the right customer that comes along with the right sort of back pocket, you know, the right size wallet, they'll say, I want to have the fastest XYZ. Yep. And then it just takes a workshop to step up and, you know, throw all the parts at it and make it all happen. So, it will only be a matter of time before it happens. There's definitely a lot more of them and a lot more support in the States because they sold the Evo 10 as a brand new vehicle in the US, whereas 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 I don't think was sold in the US. I think it was only 9 that they sold as a domestic product over there. So, yeah, it's just all about, you know, the amount of eyes on a certain model, right? And then as soon as someone runs a record, then someone else will see that and say, well, I want that record. And then, you know, the race will be on, just like it is here in Sydney with the Evo records running through at Sydney Dragway at the moment. So.
All right, well, we got Lydia back. Of course, she's in her Nissan Navara. Oh, it's great to see Lydia back. Now, normally, she prefers driving her Mazda RX-7 with a 13B Rotary in it. She's actually got a license in that car. It's a RROM spec Mazda RX-7, so effectively a super sedan. But, you know, that car hasn't had a lot. She hasn't had a lot of seat time in that car. She has been away over in Japan. Has only recently just got back. But it's great to see her out here in the Navara, getting a little bit of practice on the lights. It really doesn't matter to a certain degree whether you're driving the Navara or if you're driving the Rotary. You know, it's all about laps and getting your eye in as well. And then once you know either vehicle, it'll work to your advantage, particularly if she wants to race, because, you know, these Rotaries, as most people know, you know, to sit on the line and wind them up to build the boost up, that's all very well if you're up against another JDM spec car. But if you're up against a V8 or even our Barra 6s,
anything with a lot of cubes. Yeah, anything with a lot of cubes is going to come up onto the two-step. It's going to be ready to go. You know, if it's something that's got a lot of cubes and it's a nitrous assisted or supercharged, there's generally not a lot of RPM that they need to build before they, you know, letting go of the brake or just stamping on the throttle. So, yeah, to get out here and just have your own personal start line procedure down. So it's like muscle memory, right? You know, you're going to pull up. Even if it's not the car that you normally race, you can still go through that same procedure in your mind. You can pull up, you can go, okay, whatever it is. If you do your burnout, you clap your hands together 3 times, and you shake your head and you get ready for it. You know that you're going to pull up, you're going to bring the first light on. If the car that you're practicing in doesn't have a 2-step, well, you can just go, all right, now I'm going to bring the boost up. I'm going to tap the button twice, and you might pretend that, you know, the brake pedal, if you're in an auto car that's just your regular streeter, the brake pedal is your bump button. That's right. And you got to bump into full stage, and then watch the light and off you go. You know, try and cut a light. So, there's definitely nothing wrong with coming out here in a daily car just to dial your eye in and get that start line procedure down pat so it is muscle memory. That way you can jump in another car and you're going to basically do the same thing.
Sure.
And you're going to have that calmness and no stress. So
now we've got the red lights flashing, so I don't know whether we've got a slight problem, but we've got an i30N down there. And he's going to be taking on Acom in this SR20 powered Nissan Pulsar. But look, as I mentioned earlier, Cherry Tuning and a few other workshops as well. Parramatta Vehicle Services at North Parramatta, they're another workshop that comes to mind. These i30Ns, this platform has now been proven that it is great for circuit racing and street.
Yep.
Now I think they're starting to go, well, what can we do for drags? We've got this power. Can we put it to the drag strip?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, modern engine, direct injection, turbocharging, twin clutch, dual clutch gearboxes. All of the packages there to basically crack into. And as we know, a lot of late model stuff, it takes a little bit to figure out how to crack the ECUs and whatnot. But yeah, the guys at Cherry are one of many that's doing great things with them. So yeah, can't wait to see how it goes. Man, that GTI is an absolute handful. But Akin's just slowly creeping up on that. Obviously, we saw her gently off the line again. But the guys are going to get their head around that, and hopefully we'll see some full sends a little bit later on tonight on that one. But in the Aeroflow lane, the i30N ran through for a 1475 at 97 mile per hour. Very respectable for a nice little street car, Stu.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to hand it to Hyundai. I mean, what they do, I mean, admittedly, they don't do it here at our track, but across the road at the Motorsport Park, the amount of money and resources that Hyundai as a company are putting in for their owners of i30Ns and just getting their name and brand out there. Yep. They are pumping a lot of money into street-based racing. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, they've done a lot with their street program. Obviously, the street cars are what keeps the company in business, right? But they've committed heavily to TCR, the TCR Championship here, circuit racing, and then a lot of that follows on to the technology that they employ in their street cars. So yeah, definitely they've probably been, I would say, one of the biggest leaders in developing their product for performance in the entire automotive industry. I mean, just about everyone's already been there, but someone who's not traditionally known for high-performance street cars, Hyundai has definitely been kicking goals and, growing that side of their offering. So, yeah, really well done. We've got to have people doing performance stuff. Like, that's what we're all here about. And, I think the first drag race, or the first guy to modify a car, was just after the second car came off the production line, right? So it didn't take very long.
Well, I think the other thing is too, Pat, and, I think it's one thing that a lot of manufacturers, even seasoned manufacturers like Mazda, don't even start me on Mitsubishi. But I think the thing with Hyundai is they listen to their customer base. They look at their demographic and go, you know what? This is what people want. This is what these manufacturers are not doing. Like, I'm a Mazda fan, everybody knows that. But if you look at what Mazda do compared to what Hyundai are doing, Hyundai are really listening to the general public and going, you know what, people want SUVs, but there's people out there that want performance cars. There's people out there that want electric cars, and there's people that are like, well, I don't want an electric car and I can't have fun in it. Well, they go over the road and take an Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 6, send one of the best drifters in there to go drifting around a track in an electric vehicle and prove to people, hey, you can still have fun in an electric car. Yes, it does not make a lot of noise. But then, one manufacturer for me that I think has kind of come back a little bit, and hopefully, Pat, it's a sign of things to come, will be Honda. I think everyone knows how good the Honda Civic Type R is, the brand new one. And I'd love to see Honda do what Hyundai's doing. Get their brand awareness back out there, because they are very good cars.
Yep. No, it's interesting the way that the JDM market sort of went. They all sort of got really, I guess, environmentally conscious, and they went away from it. I think a lot of it had to do with the local market, where a lot of the public, it became very expensive to have a modified car in Japan. So a lot of kids, and just about every market in the world, a lot of kids grew up and they started to become more interested in, programming and coding and, something other than motorsport, right? So, the local market went away from it. So they went, oh, why are we, building these enthusiast cars when these people don't want to buy them, et cetera, et cetera. But I think when they stopped doing that, everyone went, hey, where's my performance car? That's right. They've gotten back into it. So there seems to be a little bit of a, obviously Toyota's embraced it again, the GR Yaris, the GR Corolla, the Supra. They do a GR version of everything now. Right. Volkswagen has sort of always been hanging around there. Where it's unfortunate that we don't have our local product anymore doing the same thing, but Ford obviously still turning out some high performance vehicles, in the Mustang, and I think they've killed the GT. Unfortunately, not building that, the supercar anymore, but Mustang's going to continue for a little while longer, and all the other guys that are going to sort of start to come in and pick up those models that have fallen off. But there's no shortage of vehicles from a previous generation that are still out there that people are modifying. And you see that here tonight, Stu, at Race for Real. There's plenty of cars here that are from previous generations that still have A, they might be affordable. B, it might be the car that person's loved for forever. It could have been the model that was available when they started high school and they started getting into cars, so they wanted one of those, and that's how it goes. So, it's there's definitely still plenty of options out there, but we're a little biased. We want high performance, we want noise, we want mile per hour and low ETs. So, no shortage of that here at Sydney Dragway. No.
And look, there's people that are on our watching our live stream at the moment. Everyone's like, bring Ford back. Well, you know what? Ford is still there, but I think with Ford, and it's don't disrespect any owner that's got one of the new ones at the moment, but one thing a lot of consumers look at, one is they look at the price of a car, they look at reliability, but the big one, which I think not just Ford, I think there's a few other manufacturers there that could learn as well, is after-sales service. I mean, if you're a customer, you want to have good after-sales service. You just don't want to buy your car. You've made an investment on a car. You want that particular brand and service department to look after you and say, because at the end of the day, it's word of mouth. You say, hey, I've got a good car, I've got good service, like they're looking after me, hey, I'll go back and I'll buy another car from you.
Yeah, it's definitely the full package, that's for sure. But, as long as they can make it go fast, that's what we're worried about, Stu.
Hey, we want them to go fast. And if they can't go, if the dealer doesn't know how to make them go fast, well, you do your research and get your parts from Aeroflow Performance. Grab yourself a copy of the Performance Parts Catalogue. And, mark your pages. I mean, Pat and I can tell you right here and now that Mark Thomas has got one up here in the studio, and it's got all these little pink little sticky points in it. And I swear, Mark could build a full-blown race car with the amount of parts he's got marked in the...
He's a fan of the catalogue, mate.
He is a fan, and there's a reason for that, because, look, they're great products from Rocket and Aeroflow. They do some fantastic products. They've virtually got something for everyone in there. And as we've mentioned previously too, Pat, it's just getting bigger and bigger. There's a lot of research and development that also goes behind what Aeroflow are doing as well, because they're not just sitting back and going, we're just going to support V8s. They now realise that, as we mentioned earlier, the KTM scene's coming up, the JDM scene. Hey, there's some other products that we can add to our inventory.
Yeah, that's right. There's hundreds and hundreds of products being added every year, so there's no shortage in that catalogue, and it's definitely something that you want to keep an eye on and check it out. And it's a great option because it's affordable as well. I mean, if there's something out there that can give you the give you the performance that you're after, give you the mods that you're after, and allow you to do more with the same dollar, well, why not? Everyone wants their dollar to go a little bit further, especially these days. So, you know, that should be something that's on everyone's priority list. So we'll see. We just had an R33 Skyline GTST going down the strip with a significant traction issue, Stu. So it was skating its way down there, so it's just taking its time getting to the end of the track. But once it rolls around the return road, we'll get back out. We've got the Evo Wagon in the Aeroflow lane again, and little Mazda 6 MPS. Don't see too many of these days, Stu, but nice little platform and a very strong following from the fans of that vehicle. So let's see what this one can put down the strip.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good race between these two. A pretty savage launch there from the Mazda and the Evo Wagon from Yakuza Motorsports. 1.85 in the 60. Coming back at the Mazda, I think the Mazda's got it, yeah, 14.96 to a 12.73. That's a pretty good pass there.
It's a nice pass from the Wagon, mate. Yeah, definitely going to chip away at that all night.
All right, got the SS Commodore taking on Psycho. See that blue GTR just sitting out the back there. The boys just hanging around it. So hopefully it won't be too much longer. And we will see that car jump on the strip and have a crack.
Absolutely. As we see the two Commodores get off down the strip, we've got the yellow VE leading the way to the black VY by the looks of things, Stu. And yeah, Benny, you caught it, mate. The black VY trying to get the burnout happening in the burnout box there, but definitely forgot to press the little button to turn the traction control off there. It wasn't too happy about it. So that's and that's part of the start line procedure. You know, when you, as we talk about that, when you come up here, you know, you pull into the up to the burnout box. You got to sit there and you go, okay, is my gearbox in the mode that I want? Is the traction control off? Have I put the windows up? All of those things that you'll just get used to the more you come out and get that happening. The Wagon gets out to a 10.56, 137 miles per hour in the Aeroflow lane. So a PB again for the Wagon for this evening.
There was a little hint of white smoke coming out the right-hand side of that car, so I don't know whether it was just coming off the tyre. Maybe the tyre was slightly rubbing, because they are pretty big rubber on the back of it.
It's definitely got a pretty tight clearance on the rear guards with that Wagon, so hopefully nothing too aggressive there.
Now, well, we've got the Audi out there now in the Aeroflow lane, about to take on the Mitsubishi Evo.
This S3's been quite a regular recently, Stu. We've seen this car here for the last few weeks, so always aggressive off the line with the Audi two-step, the launch control. A 178 60 foot, super consistent from that thing. It's almost always in a 17 60 foot range. And it's going to cross the line at a 12.15, 113 miles per hour. With the Evo in the rocket lane, a 12.42 at 109 mile per hour.
Yeah, 999 Automotive are kind of leading the way at the moment with the Audi RS3s. Of course, their silver one has gone into the 9s. Does run a parachute, so it does run pretty quick. But next up, we've got the little Honda Civic that is down in the rocket lane. He's going to be taking on the Hyundai i30N.
If my eyes don't deceive me, that's got a Grofty Industries sticker on the back window there, which is probably a lesser known workshop in Western Sydney, specialising in the Honda product. Stu, Ram, and I think his brother and a couple of friends are running that shop out of Smithfield. Doing a great job, you know. Nice, cheerful sort of K-swap sort of workshop down there. So great to see them out at the track and enjoying themselves. And a big g'day to Ram. I've known him for a few years now. So all the best to those. And that Civic's run on for a pretty decent time. 13.91 at 100 miles per hour. That, at the set of lights, that's going to surprise a few people. So.
And in a way, that's a good thing, because you know yourself, mate. I love the sleeper. Anyone that has got a car looks fairly standard, but you know it's got a fair bit of work done to it. And I may not be the only one. There might be other people that are watching the live stream as well, or here at the track that are like, you know what, I like sleepers too. I know a number of years ago there were a few Commodores getting around that were fairly good-looking sleepers.
Yep. Yeah, I don't want to toot my own horn, Stu, but mine until recently didn't look like anything much past a completely standard one, but, you know, it was run a high 9-second pass, so it was always pretty interesting to tell people what it ran after they'd seen the car and go, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. That's nice, you know. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a sleeper, that's for sure. Looks like the 33 Skyline's come back around in short time there, and it's found a little bit of traction, but definitely a nice, tasty burnout for him. Runs on for a 1356, 116 miles per hour with, I think it was the Evo in the other lane, in the 13s as well.
All right, well, the Mazda 3 out now in the rocket lane. Not sure if this is the Ostino or if this one's actually just got the 2-litre 4 in it. He's going to be taking on the VE Commodore.
Great to see P-platers out here in their daily drive, Stu. It's the safest place to see what your car has got.
Absolutely, and you know, I really hope that, you know, knock on wood, there might be someone from Mazda Australia that might be watching the live stream and going, you know what, there's people out there that are using our product. I hopefully give them a bit of a nudge to bring the manual gearbox back into the Mazda 3s and make a hero model.
Oh, we can only hope, mate.
Yeah, I wish. I had that car on my bucket list, but I've crossed it off.
No manual?
No manual. They've stopped building manuals now for the Mazda 3s. They're all autos.
No more Spanish guys. No Manuels.
No, and I don't have a walking stick yet, so I don't need a auto. All right, the Chrysler 300C. You ride a bike, Ben, so you're all right.
We've got the nice SRT model down there in the 300C, the nice Hemi on board. So let's see what that can run in the Aeroflow lane.
Of course, this is another car that, you know, for a number of years we've had some very quick 300Cs out here that have been fairly modified. This one running on through with a 1268, but of course they don't build those anymore. So,
yep, no, we've lost those. They were obviously featured by the Highway Patrol here in New South Wales after Holdens and Fords wrapped up. So, or I should say, Commodores and Falcons wrapped up. The Highway Patrol adopted the 300C, so there was a bit of a rush on those out there. You know, you get a few through the auctions, and everyone jumps on the ex-Highway Patrol cars because you always know they run in right.
Yeah,
you know? which is great to see a couple of them out here as well. And you know, the Mopar scene is you know, is a real dyed in the wool sort of crew. You know, if you're a Mopar guy, you always will be, and that's just the way it is. But great to see them running out here. So we just had Lydia go off down there, and that BA XR6 running at 11:09 at 128. There's a little bit more in the 60 foot there, I think, to see that car run through with the 10-second zone. Yeah. No doubt on that one, Stu.
I was going to mention, Pat, you know, we talk about Mopars. One of our long-time co-commentators, Les Binkhurst, who I don't get to work with much these days. I miss Les, but he used to say, no car but a Mopar. And,
no car but a Mopar, that's right.
He loves his Mopars, spends a bit of time in the US as well, and goes around to a lot of tracks to watch drag racing, and is a big fan of their scene as well as our own scene. Now we've got these two Commodores. Psycho out there is now the black Commodore, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit of tyre spin, 2.14 in the 60. Probably didn't help him too much, but Psycho running through with a 13.17, 107.07 to 108 miles per hour. What a good side-by-side drag race as we've got the Falcon about to take on the Evo.
All right, little XR6 FG Falcon down here in the Aeroflow lane with the white Evo getting out in the rocket lane at a 2.0 60 foot. So definitely not an easy thing to get away from the line, the Evos. But Stu, I'm interested to see what's pulled up in the Aeroflow lane here. We've got the old Toyota Hiace here. Doesn't have any number plates on it. So I'm not sure if he's trying to hide from his boss because he's taking the work van. But it doesn't sound like it's got a Toyota 2.4 litre 4-cylinder in it, mate.
Well, at first I thought, you know what, I wonder if he's got a 1J in it, but judging by that burnout, no.
No,
Could
I think
be a
there's
Lexus motor.
I think there's a couple of extra cylinders involved in that one, mate. So that's what it's got.
That's cool. I like that. I like it when people do something different.
Yeah, why not?
It's awesome. I mean, it's not that guy that had the Mitsubishi, the Mercedes Vito van with the big V8 in it. That thing was cool.
There's definitely a few out there.
16:38 there out of the high ace. Oh, yeah. All right, the R33 winding it up in the Burnout, taking on the Falcon. Well, the R33 goes 2.45 in the 60, but the Falcon goes 2.04. It's going to be tight at the finishing line, and 11.44 there for the Falcon to a 13.37 for the Skyline. I was about to say something else then. I had to stop myself, thankfully. Good old radio trick. Think before it comes out your mouth. And
just let it all out, Stu.
Well, I was going to say, you know, what Ben usually calls it. Ben usually calls them Sky Rice, but I call it Skyline. All right, the Mazda Rotary is back out. He's going to be taking on the Evo 10.
All right, let's see what the Mazda can do on this pass. Stu is been just working his way around the launch with the little Mazda there. It's not easy to get the rotaries off the line because they do require some RPM on board, and then the more RPM you put on board, then the more stress you put on the drive line, and then you've got a traction issue. But he's definitely creeping up on it. So a 2.060 is not bad for how gentle it was, but it's going to get on down 103 mile per hour in the half track. 11.64 at 123 mile per hour. It's definitely a lot more in that, Stu.
Yeah, it did make a move towards the 540 mark on the racetrack, around half track.
Something that doesn't need a lot of RPM to get off the line will be this this QE, mate.
Oh, no.
It's got all the cubes and all the boost.
I love this car.
So let's see if they can get a little bit of traction off the line on this one. It is a cranky thing. If anyone wants to know why you would go Supercharger over Turbo, just put a little picture of this car off the line. Instant torque, effectively what you're getting there.
Well, that's the interesting thing I found, particularly when the more the 6 litres than the
still hasn't found the traction.
No, 1.86 to the 60.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a wild beast to tame, that one, Stu. So let's hope the guys can figure something out in the pits out there. Maybe it's a little bit lower tyre pressure, or if they've got some adjustment in the shocks or the rear end or something along those lines, they can get that thing down, because as we all know, spinning ain't winning.
Well, you just made a valid point. In talking about the supercharged side of things as well, compared to the turbos, you look at the 5.7 litre and to a degree more the 6 litre. A lot of people, and one workshop that comes to mind is Russo Performance. I mean, those guys are quite big with their LS motors. And for a while there, a lot of people were going the turbo to LS route. But it kind of goes to show that with the supercharger on the side, just how potent those LS motors can be.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's horses for courses, right?
Yeah.
It depends on what you want to do, Stu. There's so many options. I mean, the side mount charger sort of has actually fallen away a little bit as far as packaging and whatnot is concerned, and efficiency, and definitely the Harrop, the 2650s, the positive displacement, top mount superchargers have been hugely popular over the last few years because it's a pretty straightforward setup. Whereas turbo, you got to talk about manifolds. You've got to find room to put an intercooler in there. You've got to, find all the plumbing that gets through there. If you want a big enough turbo, you got to, okay, we're going to chop up some holes in the, in the car and whatnot. So if you've got a bit of a special model, or if it's a special car to you and you don't want to cut some holes, then supercharger on top. You still run regular style extractors. There's plenty of room for those to, run out the back, all that sort of thing. So it can be, it can be sort of what you want. I think just about everyone that's driven both cars, a supercharger and a turbo car, it's undeniable to feel a turbo car like in the back half of the track.
Yes.
The way that they continue to pull, and you can lay more and more boost in as you go down the track. But for a street car, something to give you that whack straight off the line, Supercharger's the way to go. So, you know, definitely, yeah. And the boys at Russo's, they look after me. You know, they've helped me with building my car, and you know, Chris and Justin and Nick have been huge in getting my car out there, as well as plenty of other people have been involved, of course. But yeah, there's no shortage of builds. I actually say every time I go past there, or they might call me for some parts, you know, on a regular basis. I can't believe there's still so many Commodores that haven't been modified. Yeah. You know, I mean, they're doing cams, they're doing, you know, superchargers, they're doing turbo kits, all of those things. And it's just amazing. They're still out there, you know. But there's a lot of, you know, recurring customers as well. Someone might have got a cam a few years ago and they go, right, now it's time to get serious. Let's put a supercharger on it. Let's put a turbo on it, whatever it might be. Or build a stroker motor, leave it NA, some nitrous, all of those things, you know. So those guys definitely one of the biggest names in Sydney when it comes to tuning your later model LS-powered Commodore, that's for sure. So.
Well, Cliff, who's watching the live stream, just made a valid point, Pat. Supercharger's got people hacking holes in bonnets of classic cars.
Yeah, I mean, well definitely that HQ's got a big hole in it for the side mount, so there's no doubt there. But yeah, obviously everyone's got their own thing, and if that's what you like if it's sticking out of the bonnet, it's usually pretty cool, right? So whether it's a turbo or supercharger, or just a big stack injection, or you know a couple of twin throts and some filters, it's all cool. If it's fast, it's cool. That's our saying around here, I reckon, Stu.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I reckon it's cool, as I said, when someone does something different. In the case of this high-ace van, you know, when somebody does something different, it makes people sit up and take notice and go, you know what? I could do something like that. Why not? It gets people talking, and that's what we like, and that's why our car scene here in Sydney is very, very good.
Yeah, you're right, Stuart. And Christmas holidays are coming up, so a perfect time to start chopping up a car and sticking a different engine in it. So get on down to Rocket, grab yourself some bits and pieces, and tackle that project over the Chrissy holidays. You know, everyone wants. And you know, I saw this meme pop up during the week, and you know, if you want to modify your car, just grab whatever part it is. Grab yourself an 871 supercharger, wrap it up, say from Santa, put it under the tree, and then you know, let the kids open it, and the wife can either spoil it for the kids and say that didn't come from Santa, or she can just go with it. So see how you go. You might as well give it a try.
And if you're a bachelor, it's just a present to yourself.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You can still write from Santa on it. You know,
exactly.
A bit of mystery when it comes to Christmas morning. All right, so a couple of cars just running through down the big end there. The guy's just making sure that the start line is ready to go. As we mentioned regularly, guys, if you are coming out to race for real and you're running your street car that's got air conditioning, just make sure that you turn it off a little bit before you're coming up to the line, because a lot of the time what happens is you'll have the AC running, you'll get condensation in that system because it's so warm outside and quite cool on the inside, and it's going to drop on the track. So you don't want the track guys to see water coming out of your car and go, hey man, you can't run, or you don't want to leave something on the track for the next guy to come past and pick that up. So just one of those start line procedures. Make sure the AC is off when you're about to race your car. You also don't want to give away any power at all. All right, Evo out of the hole pretty nicely, 189. I think that's a PB for the 60 on that white Evo. It's going to run on through for a 1245 at 112 mile per hour. And the Falcon in the right lane is going to go through for 1617 at 86 miles per hour with a bit of an early back off.
All right, we've got the Falcon about to take on Psycho. Now, last Thursday night, huge thank you to Aeroflow Performance. We had Tyre Thrashing Thursday on. It was a Burnout event. We had a wicked crowd. Of course, we had Jess here as well from Mad Car Media. And as my seat decides to go down, and now I can see now. I almost couldn't see over the bench. My seat went down. Glad we don't have a video camera here in the studio that people can see that.
I'm pretty sure Benny was filming. Stu, we'll see it later.
Yeah, well, it's all right. The guys on the live stream can't see that, so that's all well and good. But no, last Thursday night we had Bender come out. It was a little silver thing. But one thing I did mention, and you know, I do talk about, I love seeing people do different stuff. Well, you know, for burnouts, primarily it's either naturally aspirated or it's supercharged. This little, I think it was a
Lada, wasn't it? Lada.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a Lada. It had two turbos hanging out of it. And look, it wasn't the easiest car to keep up on boost and do a burnout, but you know what? I've got a huge amount of respect for those guys to bring that car out, have a crack, do something different. Go. And it does run airbags in the back of it because they had the big compressor sitting in the back, which took up a fair bit of room. But look, as far as I'm aware, 0F's Reese Forrester, he is coming tonight. We've got some cars that are going to be doing some wicked burnouts on our pad a little bit later on tonight, backing up from Tyre Thrashing Thursday. And you know what? The Burnout family, they came out in droves. And we must thank each and every spectator and competitor that came out and supported the event, because it's been a while since I've actually commentated a burnout event, as Aiken just goes mental. It's still moving around.
Goes through for a 1083 at 141 mile per hour. The guys are creeping up on that car, Stu.
But I'll tell you what, Pat, it was great because, you know, as I said, it's been a while since I've done a full-blown event, but it was great to be able to get out, commentate, have a talk to the drivers, off mic and on mic, get them a little bit revved up, get up in the crowd. Unfortunately, well, I wouldn't say unfortunately, it was quite funny. Our meeting director, his two sons were up there, and they are like two of the biggest burnout supporters we've got here at Sydney Dragway. They absolutely love the smoke and the noise. And it was a great crowd.
Great to see. Great to see the Burnout family embracing their sport. Stu, absolutely. They're probably one of the most enthusiastic support fan bases out there, I think, isn't it?
Oh,
Burnout
they are.
fans.
But you see, Jess said to me she wanted to have they were going to wear country hats, her and her friend Carly, and they said to me, Stu, would you bring your hat out? I said, yeah, no worries. So I came out in full country gear. And, I was up in the crowd, and they were down there dancing. So, of course, I had to, dance a little bit up.
Did you do some boot scooting?
Mate, I didn't do the boot scooting, mate, but I got the whole thing going on in the middle of the crowd. Everybody was, clapping. Everyone was fired up on Thursday night. So I'll tell you what, if we could get a drag racing crowd like that on a Wednesday night, I'd tell you it would go off.
Well, you might have to wear your hat more often, mate, and do some dancing in the crowd on a Wednesday night. Don't encourage him, you reckon, Ben?
No, well, the good thing is that Ben didn't have the camera on the grandstand when I was actually dancing. So, thankfully, all the people that are watching the live stream sucked in because you missed it.
Well, now you've said that, it's definitely going to happen next time.
For a start. So, yeah.
No, very cool.
But it was a great night. And, as I said, full thank you to Aeroflow Performance, Pat, for getting behind the event as well. And, look, no matter if you've got a burnout car, a street car or a drag race car, Aeroflow Performance for all your parts.
Well, there's so many parts in that catalogue that lend themselves to obviously drag racing, street cars, and burnout cars. So it's crazy not to get behind it. I mean, the guys that are supporting the Aeroflow brand are getting some support back from that brand as well. And that's why we've got the flags flying out here at Sydney Dragway. That's why the Aeroflow lane is there, the rocket lane's there, because that's where your support for those brands comes back in support for keeping Sydney Dragway running and having these events, these race for reals at Wednesday night, the Sunday sessions, and of course Tyre Thrashing Thursday, all brought to you by Aeroflow Performance. So it's great to see. But Stu, we've got a few cars lining up. We did see that R34 GTR out the back in the staging lanes, and I did see an Elite Auto House Stick It Up Evo roll around to scrutineering. So I think it might be on for a little bit more world record chasing tonight, possibly, which will be great to see. But perhaps in the meantime, we might take a little bit of an ad break, as we mentioned a couple of sponsors, and pay some bills.
Panel man van.
Bank said no to your home loan? Talk to us.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
Whether you're building a street machine or a race car, Aeroflow Performance has a solution for you. Our ever-increasing range features boosted turbocharger systems, Bosch Motorsport products, Expro electrical systems, hoses and fittings, bang shift shifters, differential parts, and fabrication components. You can see it all on aeroflowperformance.com.
say, the XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
I've chosen to use VP Racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now. I just have a really personal trust with VP Racing fuels.
Running on the ragged edge of blowing up and not, a lot of it has to do with the race fuel, and that's what we rely on, VP Racing fuels.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
All right,
Well,
so we see the Mustang running down for a 1292 at 108 with all of the coyote noises coming out of it to a 1278 at 111 for the Rocket Lane Stu. This little CRX is one that we don't see many of anymore. It's known as the Del Sol model, Stu. So generally B series in those, or B16A out of the factory. But I did notice quite the fridge door in the front bar, meaning a quite a large intercooler. So there's a bit of boost on board with that little CRX, so we'll see if they can't get their head around getting that out of the hole a little bit quicker, but it's definitely moving on down the strip. It carries on for a 14.0 with an 8 at 124 mile per hour. The 124 mile per hour being a bit more of a telltale that there's a bit of extra atmospheres going through that motor, I'd say, Stu.
Well, of course, I see that car, and the first thing that comes to mind for me is Denny in the old Online Performance full tube frame Del Sol CRX, sorry, that they used to run.
A blast from the past.
That,
yeah.
and then he went the all-motor car. He sold the tube frame and built an all-motor.
Yep.
And that thing was mental.
Yeah, I mean, the Honda scene just really hasn't, unfortunately, not a lot of people have really jumped on it in Australia when it comes to drag racing, because I guess it was just, there might have been a bit of stigma, you know, front wheel drive, it's not easy, you're figuring things out. You've got Lukey Soldatic with his CRX, you know, his Del Sol is, I'm pretty certain, is the fastest one in the country by quite a way. And he's just about ready to bring that car back out, I believe. So hopefully he's got some competition, which is the reason why he stopped racing, basically, because there was no other competition in a similar sort of category. So, yeah, definitely hope to see some more of those similar combinations. You know, there's insane Honda stuff going on in the US, you know, like all motor, but, well, I guess you can't call them all motor, but a naturally aspirated engine, 50-50 nitro methanol mix on those things, you know,
Nice.
7-second passes out of an NA, you know, 2 litre is absolutely wild. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of potential there. So great to see some more Honda action out here. But, you know, doesn't matter what the badge is, Stu, if it's out here at Race for Real by Aeroflow Performance, here at Sydney Dragway, all are welcome. So let's get everyone out here. Here's our little orange Mazda, mate. Let's see if he can't improve on the last pass.
Yeah, I mean, we've been very fortunate the last couple of weeks. We've had B2R Motorsport bring out their Civic, which is definitely heading in the right direction for those guys as well.
Another handful car, that one.
Absolutely it is. All right, the Luxo barge down there in the Rocket Lane, 2.20 in the 60. The little Mazda, a little bit crossed up off the start line, goes 2.11. A little bit unrepresentative of what the mighty Mazda Rotary can do. Still runs on through with a 1381. As we've got this beautiful looking Holden Ute down here. It looks like it's coming out for its first pass, and he's going to be taking on the Crofty's Performance Civic. I see Lydia down in the staging lanes having a talk to Jess, which could be a little bit more worry because Jess is armed with a camera and I never know what she's doing. Thankfully, I'm up here in the box tonight with you, Pat, so I'm safe.
Yeah, I think most of the time she's just trying to catch you out in a compromising position, Stu. So.
Yeah, I know. She has a habit of that. I'm surprised I haven't broken the camera yet.
She's good at it.
Oh, she's too good. That's the problem. But don't forget, guys, if you do come to the track and you love it and you're thinking, I want to get a bit close to the action, you can grab yourself a viewing pass as well, and you can get down to where these people are just near the Burnout area in the Aeroflow lane, and you can get a little bit close to the action, get a little bit of tyre smoke and E85 up your nose to get you fired up.
And not only that, Stu, if you really want to get a close look at the action, you can get yourself a passenger ticket.
That's
so
right.
If your mate's coming down and he's going to race his car and you've never been in a car down the strip before, it's a perfect opportunity. You come in, get your spectator ticket, head through to the scrutineering shed. You're going to line up and get your passenger ride ticket. You do need a helmet, you need long pants, you need long sleeves and enclosed shoes. But you can run in a car that goes all the way down to 1050 here at the track. So if you've never been in a quick car, anything that's, a 12-second, 11-second, even dipping into the 10s is going to be one hell of a ride. So if your mate's got a quick car and you want to go for a ride and not have to worry about getting pulled over, you really don't want to G your mates up on the street, because it's going to end up in either they're not going to have a license anymore or something worse. So avoid that. Come on down to Sydney Dragway, race for real, get yourself a passenger ticket and see what it's got, really. And that way, it's pretty hard to get a car, if you've got a street car that runs like a 1090 and you've got a two-step or, some sort of launch control system, it's pretty hard to use that on the street often. But you can use it all day, every day here at Sydney Dragway. So get on down with a passenger ride. It's one of the best experiences you'll have here at the Dragway. And then, if you like the passenger ride, you might even come back as a racer yourself the next time with a competitor ticket. So make sure you keep that on the list.
We've just done a little bit of a clean-up in aisle 1, and we're going to send this R33, which looks like it's got 2 drivers.
Definitely enthusiastic when it comes to the Burnout in the R33 there. It's got that classic RB sound that we're all used to out here. RB25 on board. Looks like a Series 2 33 GTST out there. It's going to come up against this Audi S3. Let's see. Audi out of the hole. 1.860. Looks like it's a little bit off on the launch there. The Skyline's definitely got more power than it has traction, I think, in the short track. So the guys are having a great time out there, but they're going to work that out through the night. 1363 at 113 for the Skyline, at 1219 at 112 miles per hour for the Audi in the Rocket Lane.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that Skyline with a set of sportsman rubber on the back of it, similar to what that sports wagon's running, because, as you said, it's got the power, but I'll tell you what, just trying to put it to the track on those skinny tyres is maybe just hindering it a little bit.
And Stu, it's got a bit of the invisible caravan camber happening on the rear of that car as well, so it's definitely been lowered. So if we can straighten those tyres up, we're going to get a full contact patch, maybe stick some radials on there, and off she goes. But that's part of the fun. It's working things out, coming out, seeing what you got right now. All right, here's what I can do next time. Or, you go to the workshop if you're not working on the car yourself. Say, this is what I had an issue with. What can we do? Yeah. The guys will work out some things, change some bits and pieces, work out the tune, and send you back out. You'll be able to crack off a PB.
Well, a little Mazda 3, the P-platter, goes 17.49 at 81 miles per hour. Great pass from him. All right, we've got the Evo Wagon back out against VPR Racing's VH.
Yeah, definitely see if the VH can get the traction happening out of the line and try and run a PB tonight. The Evo's going to give them a bit of a hard time because they're always nice off the line. Let's see what both of them can do. The Evo's going to creep into stage. Both cars pre-stage, just waiting on the VH to come in full stage. Lights will drop on the green. Let's see what they've got. Gently off the line for the VH, but he's going to roll into it as he comes down through the 330. They're going to head down past the 8th mile marker. The VH is leading the way from the Evo. 11.47, 131 mile per hour for the VH to 12.64 at 106 miles per hour for the Evo. Definitely a nice pass from the VH, but it's all going to be in the 64 for that car to get well into the 10s with that sort of mile per hour for sure, Stu.
Now this hardtop, his number plate reads 78 Barra.
Yeah, okay. That might explain why it doesn't sound like a Windsor or a Clevo or, you know, insert alternate Ford engine here. So a bit of two-step action from the Commodore there by the sounds of things.
Yeah,
MSD two-steps in there, so...
No, not very often, but, you know, 2.25 in the 60 there for the Commodore. The big Falcon, though, running on through with a 1273 with a 615 miles per hour. That is a great pass there from the big Falcon. We got 2 more Falcons on their way out.
Right, we're just going to hold the cars as the 2 previous vehicles get off the braking area.
Now,
just
I thought...
sure that everything's okay out there.
Well, I thought I saw a hint of smoke down the end of the track. So I suppose that's maybe what our track crew down the end having a look at. But if you're racing tonight, guys, you want great photos, make sure you do check out Mad Car Media. And you can get some fantastic shots. Jess down there armed with the camera. Hey, Jess, how you going? Hey, Jess, I like being up here because I'm safe. Yeah.
Yeah, come down, she says.
You want me to come down? Yeah. But I'm comfortable up here in the air conditioning, but thank you. No, I better go out and do some work soon. But I'll tell you what, we've got the Falcons down here. Now, I did mention earlier how good the Falcons have been the last few weeks. Now, I'm not a Ford man by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a lot more enthusiasts starting to bring their Fords out, and a lot of them, they're not super quick. Some of them are, some aren't, but you know what? They're consistent. And that's the big thing. Speaking about being consistent,
I'm betting this Ford Ute's going to be pretty quick, mate.
I'm wondering if this is one of the precision racing customer cars.
Well, I mean, it could be, but there's definitely no shortage of Barra workshops or Ford. No. You know, Ford specialist workshops in Sydney, so plenty of options out there. But that is the F6 model, so we know it's got a little bit extra spice out of the factory. But judging by that Burnout, I reckon it might have a few mods under the bonnet, mate. Let's see what it can reel off.
Actually, one guy we haven't seen here for a little while with his tough Falcon is Ramsden, who used to come out here fairly regularly to Sydney Dragway at a black FG.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit going on under the bonnet there, Stu. 1040 at 150 miles per hour. And I think there was a little dab of brakes just before the finish line there too. So, yeah, can't wait to see that Ute come back around and get a bit of boost off the line. 2.060 foot. There's still definitely a bit of spice in that one.
Yeah, spice is good. We've got the big XP coming up the return road. Great looking car, that one as well. It's fantastic to have it here as part of Aeroflow Race for Reals. The Statesman gets the jump on the Falcon and going down the Rocket Industries lane, and a 1494 to a 1571 as we've got 2 more Falcons on their way out. We've got an XR6 Turbo down here with a nice set of sportsman rubber on the back of it in the Rocket lane.
Yep, definitely. This Envy Green BA is it's creeping up on its potential. That's for sure, Stu. We've seen it run. I think it's run a 10 from memory, or it's right there. I think at 11.0 possibly. But it's got the mile per hour on board to definitely be in the 10 zone. So let's see if they can't get enough boost online to get this thing out of the hole. Definitely a lot cleaner. 174 60 foot is pretty nice for that BA. It is going to be chasing that FG down as it streaks off down the Rocket lane. It's going to cross for an 11.16 at 127, so just missing out there, but still making some good progress. As we've got the HSV Wagon back out here in the Aeroflow lane, paired up with the long wheelbase, the Caprice, I think it is. Let's see if they can both step a little closer. The long wheelbase is in the very low 11s, so let's see if they can't get that away from the line. And the Wagon has gone 10.56, I think it was last time out. Just dusting those tyres as it comes off the line through the 60, but the long wheelbase 1.7 60 foot is pretty tight. It goes through for an 11.06 at 126 mile per hour. It is a hair away from breaking into that 10-second mark. All right, we've got the always entertaining V8 powered High Ace out here. Big fan of Burnouts. Maybe we should get him into the Burnouts later on, Stu.
Absolutely.
But
get him on the pad. That'd be a lot of fun. Hey, just looking at the live stream, some of the comments. Cliff, you're still a baby, mate. You're younger than me, mate. 41. Wish I was 41 again. All right, the van out with a 2.37 to a 2.23 in the 60 there for the Civic. The Civic in the Aeroflow lane running on through, 1380 in the van, running on through with a 1605 with a 4. That's a pretty good pass.
Yeah, I don't think Hiaces came out of the factory running 16s.
Nah.
Stu, so it's definitely made some odds. Might not be the fastest time in the general world, but yeah, it's not bad. Those of you that are here tonight at Sydney Dragway, if you're watching in the stands or if you're out in the staging lanes or in the pits, please, as a reminder, please remember just to turn your AC off in the car. I know it's warm. I know it gets warm when you've got long sleeves and long pants on in the car out there, but if you can turn your AC off, we are just spending a lot of time cleaning up condensation and water dripping from the car at the line, which is no good for anyone, really. You know, I mean, the track crew's down there to make sure that the line is nice and dry, but you know, if they miss something or it's, you know, a little bit of extra whatever coming out of the car, it's just not great for everyone trying to get off the line. So please, if you do remember, turn your AC off while you're racing. Another enthusiastic burnout from the 33, Stu. We've got Lydia up against the line. I reckon Lydia's going to get the reaction time.
Well, she's been going all right, considering that, you know, the Navara's not really known for, you know, its outright speed. But 0.183 on the tree for Lydia on her previous pass goes 0.265 on the reaction time. So definitely got the jump. But the R33 a little bit tamer off the line this time, 2.70, and it's just kind of buttoned it down a little bit. Little puff of smoke on the gear change and runs on through with a 1367 at 114 to a 19.05 there for Lydia in the Navara.
Definitely, yeah, the big cars, big dual cabs with their electronic throttle and large tyres and everything else. They're not exactly the easiest thing to get a killer reaction time, that's for sure. But got a couple of cars down here that should be able to cut a good light. We've got the VY with the two-step, and the VH is going to try and get that 10-second pass. Yeah, fighting traction in the VH there, but cleaner launch from the VY in the rocket lane, a 2.0, both 2.0s, a 2.03 to a 2.04 60-foot, not bad. VH going through an 11.09 with an 8, 131 miles per hour. The VY 13.24 at 105. I think it buttoned off slightly early there as well. We've got the VE, looks like a V Omega in the Aeroflow lane with the Mazda 3 in the rocket lane. Back out again, having a great time. Oh, just a little early on the launch for the VE there, but the Mazda 3 off for a clean start. Obviously, being a race for real Wednesday night, there's no great drama if you do drop a cherry on the tree. You'll still get a time, as long as it's not super early, but just won't quite.
But, you know, if you don't get a red, it means you're not trying. So, you know, and sometimes you've got to do that to get your eye in and work out where I've got to leave and where I don't. The Mazda Rotary back out against the i30N. The little RX2. All right. Well, the i30N out with a 2.31 in the 60. The Mazda, little turn of the tyres, 2.07 in the 60.
It's definitely a bit more aggressive there, just trying a few different things to get it off the line.
11.38, 133 miles an hour. That's a good pass there from the little Rotary. Just tuning to the track and then knowing what the car's doing and what the track's doing.
That's exactly right, Stu. You've got to, you know, if you're coming out to a Wednesday night, obviously there's no championship here. We're not racing for sheep stations, as the old saying goes. But it might be something where you're working towards maybe coming and entering the track championship, you know, on the Saturdays that we run, or you might be entering, you know, some other competition. And that's where it will matter whether or not you get down the track or not. You know, and everyone's got the same track to work with when it's a competition or even a Wednesday night. People could say, oh, the track's good or the track's not so good or it's this or it's that or blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if you're pulling up against someone in the other lane and you want to beat that person to move on in an elimination situation, you have to figure out how to get your car down that track.
Absolutely.
Whether it's good, whether it's greasy, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whatever it might be, your foot works both ways.
That's right.
For starters.
Yep.
It goes down and it comes up too. A lot of people forget the up bit sometimes early in the track.
Yeah.
But, you can adjust your suspension in some cases. You can change your tune. You can, in modern gearboxes that are like a 6-speed or, or more 10-speed, 8 speeds, that are available now, you might start in second gear instead of first gear because it's a little less torque multiplication, so you might be able to get away from the line cleaner. There's plenty of different things that you can work out, and that's one of the things that you can do at a Wednesday night because you're not going to get eliminated.
That's right.
So if you come out and you go, oh, it's a bit hot today, or the track's really hot, for example, or even in winter, it might be really cold. So wow, a lot of fuel on the Mazda 6 and coming out there. A couple of changes.
And there's still that little hint of smoke coming out of that sports wagon as well. Yeah. That hasn't slowed it down though, but
10.53 at 1:38 is a great pass. Looks like they're creeping up on that car too. But 13.26 at 1:01 for the Mazda 6. I'm not exactly sure what happened there because last time it was not belching that black smoke on a pass. But yeah, that's a great thing about a Wednesday night. As we're saying, you can come out and you go, all right, it's a really cold track tonight and I don't have as much traction. How am I going to get out of the hole cleanly and then be able to lay the power in maybe further down the track? That's so, right. Whether if it's a boosted combination, you can play around with your boost controller. Maybe you can stage the boost through gears, whatever it might be. There's plenty of things that you can work out, and that's what a lot of racers have to figure out. That's why you'll see people that often compete in the track championships. They'll be here on a Wednesday night because they're trying to figure some different things out. Whether it's a different tyre or they've changed the setup. It's a great opportunity to come out here because you can run all the way down to an 850.
That's right. Yep.
Here at a street event. As you see the VK jump off the line for a 2/160 foot. It's gone on a single. The Audi, I think, had a little bit of a mistake in staging. Might have rolled through. But that's no big problem. We can just back it up. We'll wait until that car clears and the track crew will get them into stage for another clean pass.
Yeah, it's the Audi TT. Of course, a few weeks ago we had the Galano engineering Volkswagen come out, Mark 7, and just absolutely obliterated the record. But then the following week, the driver actually came out in his personal car, which is an Audi TT.
Yep.
And, obviously that little bit of help from Galano Engineering there. Of course, Parkatech as well, who have been doing some great things with that Volkswagen platform. And the guys, it's an absolute credit to them for what they're doing. And a 1370 there for the Audi TT. All right, Lydia's going to be taking on the Hi-Ace.
Yeah, not as enthusiastic on the Burnout this time from the Hi-Ace, Stu.
No. Well, it's got the jump on Lydia, 2.13 in the 60. And Lydia in the Navara goes 2.68. The Hi-Ace, so nice and straight down the Aeroflow lane and runs on through with a 15.76.
Ooh, big PB from the Hi-Ace, too. 15.76. All right, here comes our HQ with the with all of the boost in the supercharged combo. The R33 is doing his best to try and intimidate the QE, but I don't think it's going to happen, mate.
Yeah, I don't think it is either, just quietly. And not with those standard rear street tyres on it either.
No, let's see if the Holden can get away from the line. Well, they've definitely figured some things out there. It is on its way. A bit of a wiggle as it grabs second gear. It's going through 122 in the half track with an early back off, 990 at 117 mile per hour. Definitely a lot more to come from that Holden down there, so really well done.
Yeah, I think he was off that at about three-quarter track by the look of it too. But the R33 Skyline went 18.39 And maybe a few
58
little
miles per
issues
hour.
there for that car.
Definitely a back off on that one.
Yeah. All right, looks like a Volkswagen
Tiguan.
SUV down there.
Little Tiguan R, possibly. Similar engine transmission combination as the Golf R. So definitely a bit of turbocharged 2-litre action happening on that one. But let's see if the VH can get away from the line cleaner, break that 10-second mark. It's definitely rolling out, bit of wheel speed on board, a 2.0 60 foot. Probably still not quite where they want to be, but it's definitely running strong out the back end. Goes through a 10.94 with a 5 at 133 miles per hour. Congratulations to those guys for ticking off that new milestone and a PB for this evening. A 13.50 at 105 for the Tiguan. That's a quick little vehicle to get the kids to school and head off to the shops in, mate.
Absolutely.
Nice little commuter.
All right, we've got Boss Me back out. The Howling Coyote powered Mustang. He's to be taking on the Ford. Of course, a little bit of potentially sad news coming out during the week on the subject of coyotes. There's a big article came out during the week on Speed Cafe in relation to the S5000s, because the S5000s are all powered by the Ford Coyote motor, but looks like they may not be possibly racing next year just due to the grid size.
Yeah, the open wheelers, circuit cars, S5000s. Yeah, great sounding, field to watch, and there's definitely some good racing there. But yeah, just didn't quite get the traction that it needed out there. But I'll tell you what, that Wagon's definitely got some traction, Stu. It's reeled off a 169.60 and a 10.36 with a 9 at 136 mile per hour. So congratulations to those guys. The Del Sol CRX still struggling with traction in the short track. Goes through for a 14.36 at 114. Yeah, S5000 I thought definitely had some potential, but just it's such a shame that almost every new kind of circuit motorsport gets overshadowed by the TV circus that is V8 Supercars.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and I mean, genuinely, I'm going to sound really biased here, and I do enjoy V8 supercars, and I miss the Holden vs Ford rivalry because that's just not around anymore in that class. But why did they go with this current platform? I don't know. I mean, the drivers hate driving them. They're not that quick. But also we could have just adopted GT3.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're not driving cars that are made here anymore. No. So big deal. Adopt GT3. You've got all of the manufacturers already producing GT3 cars, so the teams can just go and say, "Hello, Mr. Ford. Yes, I'd like one of those GT3 Mustangs, please." And they go, "Here you go." The parody's already done. You know, I mean, the performance is there. They look like cars that you can buy from the factory. You know, more than whatever it is that you're getting from, you know, you can't buy a Camaro here in Australia anymore from the factory. Yes, you can still get a Ford Mustang, that's fair enough, but yeah, I don't quite understand how so much TV, advertising, sponsor money goes behind that class when it's just losing relevance.
Yeah, you know? And I think for me too, you know, I grew up watching circuit racing before I got drag racing, but you know, for me, Pat, it's like, well, we have so many talented young drivers here in Australia in general, and I think, you know, what you said is true. And the way I see it, we've already got GT racing in Australia.
Yeah.
But if we could have a very high-class open-wheeler class that is successful, there's no reason why a young person, like we do here in drag racing, we're very fortunate that, you know, there are two avenues that a young driver can go. They can go, you know what, I want to go race a sedan. So I'll go and run super sedan. No, I want to go and run an open wheeler. All right, I'm going to go run modified. You know, so I think from the circuit side of things, you know, it should be like, well, you know what, I'm a young driver. I don't want to go and race a tin top. I want to race an open wheeler and potentially do well in that, and then go overseas and try my luck at trying to get into F1. Or even IndyCar. I mean, realistically, Super 5000, and I've said this all along, Super 5000 should always have been the platform to IndyCar. because supercars at the moment is becoming a platform to NASCAR.
Yep. Yeah, look, I mean, and the vast majority of motorsports, when you're talking circuit racing, Stu, is aero heavy, right? You know, so you've got wings, you've got canards, you've got splitters, you've got all that sort of thing. Yes, V8 supercars have them to an extent, but it's just nowhere near what a GT3 car has. You just look at the times around Bathurst between a GT car and a supercar, and it's just it's so specific to Australia that it really hamstrings the category by its own nature. So hopefully they can change a few things here there. But hey, on a happy note, we can see DJ Prowse in the house on the YouTube live stream. It's his daughter's birthday today. So Kyla, a very, very happy birthday from Sydney Dragway. All of us here. I hope you have a great time. And a big shout out from DJ Prowse to giving a shout out for his daughter. So once again, happy birthday. Many happy returns.
Yeah, happy.
He's got his whole family tuning in on every event. I'm ashamed that I didn't know that better. Well, once again, Kyla, happy birthday. DJ, thanks for tuning in, and extended family. It's great to see you all here.
Oh, Acom just moving all around the place. Almost hitting the centre line, but runs on through with a 12.84 at 84 miles per hour. But, man, that thing is crazy.
He's going to have some arm pump like a MotoGP rider after driving that thing.
I'm trying to think. That's all radial shod too, isn't it?
Yes, I believe it is.
Not slicks.
Speaking of radial shod, Baghdad is here from Mixed Motorsports Stable. Great to see the guys out again. They did break into the 8s last time out, so we know that there's a big target on the back of the boys from Elite Auto House. They've got the 863 at the moment. Let's see. I think it's Wes driving Baghdad again, so let's see if he can hang on to it. 2 steps on board. Let's see what Baghdad's got. Comes off the line clean and straight. Oh, until we grab second gear. It's done the Evo shuffle. 18760 is definitely going in the right direction for that car, so great to see them out here again. A lot of potential. We know it's got the turbo. We know it's got the gearbox. We know it's got all of the tuning expertise on board from Mick. So great to see them back out here. And I'm pretty sure I did see that Elite Auto House Evo come around to staging, Stu, so we know it's going to happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, you said the exact words out of my mouth, mate. They now, Elite Autosport have got a massive target on their back now. And really that's going to benefit not only all those races that come out and race, because number one, it's great to see them out here at Aeroflow Race for Real, but for the people watching the live stream, and particularly the people here at the track that get to see it and feel it, it's an exciting time, because as you said last week, it's been a bit quiet, the Evo scene, but to see these calibre of pro street cars coming out to Aeroflow Race for Real on a street prep track, run almost mid-8s, it's impressive.
It's very impressive, yeah. And I think the scene's been quiet because all these shops have been building these killer cars, right? Yeah. So it's not an overnight thing to put cars of that calibre together. So it's great to see that the competition is alive and well. And we can't wait to see what they've got when they all get their cars squared away.
All right, Boss Me is back out. This very nice sounding Coyote Mustang. He's going to take on the Falcon. Now, I did see that really nice R34 Skyline in the lanes and it's just below us from B2R Motorsports. It also runs nitrous. So
all of the serious GTRs getting on the bottle, Stu. So it's good to see. The guys at B2R are just they're constantly sort of quietly chipping away. Quiet achievers down there, right? There's often not the big hoo-ha or anything like that out there, but we know these number plates on this 34 have been on some quick GTR action. Previously on a 32. So let's see what the new holder of the strapped plates can bring to the table here at Sydney Dragway on a Wednesday night. Ready for a nice spicy RB burnout.
That unmistakable sound of that turbo Nissan motor winding up in the burnout. I'll tell you, where else would you want to be than a Wednesday night here at Sydney Dragway? And particularly when we've got some quick cars that are here this evening for Aeroflow Race for Real. And to all the people up in the crowd, guys, I suggest get off your phones, clean your ear holes out, get ready for some RB goodness, the best model of Skyline ever built. And we're very fortunate to have one here from B2R Motorsport.
Yeah, Turbo 400, I think, behind the RB here. A bit of transbrake action, so let's let it get up on the converter, bumps a two-step, and away from the line with a bunch of wheel hopper. And that was still a 148 60-foot with all four wheels turning.
Yeah.
Stu, so yeah, definitely some spice on board with the 34 GTR. We can't wait for that to come back around with a couple of adjustments that we know the B2R guys are going to make.
Oh, yeah. You can see Baghdad down there. They got the bonnet up. The guys will just be doing a quick check. They did have a little bit of a few spots of oil that were coming out of it last week, and I believe they fixed it. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you can't see it, but we can. The Elite Auto House, by the look of it, Evo, is out the back.
Executor, the reigning king of the radial Evo world.
Oh, yeah.
863 last week. Ali's back out to see if they can't chip away at that record.
I would, to be honest, the way I look at it, Pat, is that, look, I don't want to see them break the record. I want to see them back up the record. Yeah. I think backing it up is a lot harder than setting a record. If you can get that car consistent in the 860s, hey, you've got yourself a killer package.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you've got a point there, Stu. I mean, I'd still like to see them break it, but just by a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just move those goalposts a little bit further. And then someone else has got to come and then reach that little goalpost and then just go a little bit further,
Sydney Dragway made some noise for the High Ace van, ripping it up in the Burnout. That's what we'd like to see. Of course, we'll have burnouts on our infamous Sydney Dragway Burnout Paddy a little bit later tonight, but he's taking on the Audi TT. Well, a little bump there from the Audi as he got it in the stage. 1.90 in the 60. The van, though, goes 2.12 in the 60.
I reckon that was almost a wheelie from the van there, Stu.
I reckon it was.
Probably got something to do with, like the strange wheelbase and maybe the shocks that aren't really designed to do that sort of thing. But hey, let's still give it, 1580 at 82.
Yeah, not bad. Well, we can see that beautiful looking B2R Motorsports R34 Skyline down there. Obviously, a fair bit of wheel spin out of that car. I think for those guys, a lot of it will be getting the short track at the half track mark, getting the data on the car before maybe sending it. But I think they'd rather get their short times half track, particularly if it's running radials. I mean, that's what a gentleman by the name of Chris Matheson was doing a few years ago. He was mainly just focusing on the short times on his Nitro Voodoo 4-cylinder top fuel motorcycle. And then, of course, you had the championship in mind as well, but really just working on short times. And, he's got a 1,500 horsepower vehicle with one tyre on it. So he's practicing short times. And a lot of that goes down with these guys that run radial cars too. They do care about the quarter mile, but they're mainly looking at the half track.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a bit of a battle. Like the radial is like a double-edged sword, right? So you've got you've got the top end mile per hour that comes out of the radial construction, but it is a little bit trickier to get the car off the line. So definitely something that Ali from Elite Auto House is going to try and attempt here with Executor, the Evo. They're pulling up. Track crew's just going to make sure.
Now he looks like he's got different wheels on it this week.
Might have changed to a different combination, so we'll see. Just double checking what's happening here.
I think they're going to send Lydia first, and then we will send Executor down just purely from a safety point of view. Obviously, we can't have an 8-second car that is capable of getting the hippie shake on and having Lydia out there in her Navara and then something just happens to go wrong. But there could also be just a little bit of fluid maybe that was coming out of Executor. Our start team are looking at no. Looks like he's giving the thumbs up.
Just double checking, you know, I mean, and that's a duty of care for the track crew, you know. I mean, we want to make sure that everything's 100% safe for that car to leave the line. It's not because we want to send the car back. It's because we don't want to see the thing going sideways down the track, you know, any more than what the Evo Shuffle will normally do it. So let's see, Executor in stage. It's going to bring it up on the two-step and go to reclaim the title. Oh, a lot of smoke from the turbo there. It gets away pretty cleanly, fairly straight, but an aborted run further on down the track. It's got the precision telltale, the precision turbo telltale happening there with a little bit of smoke. So always pretty easy to find out what's going on. All right, so just a little bit of a clean up at the line there. We've got Executor Evo maybe just sweating a little bit of horsepower on the line. So let's see if the guys can't get that all figured out. I'm sure they'll go back, make a couple of adjustments, check over a couple of things, and get it back out and get a bit more aggressive off the line. It is still only 8 o'clock, so we've still got a good an hour and a half worth of running to happen there, and the temperature is only coming down. We've got a bit of cloud cover here at the track, so it's going to start to bring things down a little bit. But in the meantime, the guys are just making sure that the start line is safe for our other runners. We might... Yeah, I think we might just going to be giving the track a bit of a scrub potentially. Let's just double check that. Yeah, it looks like the track crew is just going to make sure that the racing surface is in perfect condition. So we might throw to a couple of ads, and we'll be right back here. Race for Real, brought to you by Aeroflow Performance at Sydney Dragway.
Aeroflow, famous for our massive range of hose, fittings and performance products. Air filters, oil filters, fittings, engine and transmission parts, fuel systems, tanks, silicone hose, exhaust, air conditioning, turbo and nitrous accessories and more. Get your free catalogue and shop online now at aeroflowperformance.com.
Bankshift shifters from Aeroflow Performance are truly the modern shifter for the modern age. Featuring a full bespoke billet case, all shifters are designed for right-hand drive vehicles with an LED lit gear position indicator. Available in either ratchet or gated options, as well as OEM replacement shifters for popular Holden and Ford vehicles. A large range of Bankshift spares are available for each shifter that includes shifter cables, brackets, lever and gate kits, trans brake buttons and drop boxes for the ideal mounting solution. Shift into gear and check out a full listing at aeroflowperformance.com.
How would it be if we funded a pilot program for you to run that enabled you to bring some vision impaired kids onto the Saints Play program?
Oh wow, that would mean the world. My reward is the smile on the kids' faces.
And since you've given so much to others, we'd also like to do something for you personally. How would it feel if Pepper sent you, your partner, and your daughter Molly to the Gold Coast for a few days?
Yeah, awesome. I don't know what to say. It amazes me. Thank you very much.
Stay informed, up to date and entertained thanks to the Western Weekender. The Western Weekender is Penrith's leading free and local newspaper, delivering the best content from on-the-ground journalists and providing businesses with direct access to potential customers. News, sport, entertainment, puzzles and so much more. The Western Weekender is the heartbeat of Penrith and it's out every Thursday. Get your free copy at selected locations in the area, home delivered, or check out westernweekender.com.au.
All right, that is one clean track, and we have cars coming into stage. So let's get back to it. Out there, we've got the little Audi in Aeroflow Lane and the FG Falcon, who's made plenty of laps tonight in Rocket Lane. It's great to see everyone having fun. Nice light from the FG there as well on 0.23 reaction time. Unfortunately, I don't think we've had enough competitors arrive tonight to run the reaction time prize money pool, but he would have been in with a chance. So the Audi going through for a 12.0 with 4 at 114 miles per hour. FG 15.37 at 91. Another killer burnout from this FGX Falcon in the Rocket Lane. It's he's been dialing that in all night, so let's see if they can't get it off the line. On this one, we've got the big Hemi, the big SRT 300 in the Aeroflow Lane, ready to whomp its way down the track.
Well, Pat, I'm down in the staging lanes. I've got Chris here with this beautiful looking barrow. You just told me this thing's only had about 15 Ks put on, 5-year build.
Yeah, that's right. The longest drive it's had was from North Richmond to here tonight. And yeah, just doing a bit of R&D and a bit of a shakedown before we do a bit of drag challenging in 2024.
Mate, that's fantastic here you're doing drag challenge. Now, the plates say 78 Barra. You've got a Barra, have you?
Absolutely. So we've just got a green top with the usual bits and pieces. We've got a bit of a bigger turbo 400, and we're just pushing, I think, about 550 kilowatts at the wheels. And yeah, she's enough at the moment, but we've got the big engine we're building at home. So we'll be deep into the 9s in a couple of years' time.
That is sensational. Well, Chris, enjoy the night, mate. It is a bit of a crowd favourite, not just here at the track, but on our Facebook Live. Get yourself set, mate. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Stu. We're about to see Baghdad get back out of the hole again. Coming off the line nicely. First, second gear, third gear. Nice and straight as an arrow down the track. Let's see. Oh, looked like a bit of a fourth gear shuffle down there. Buttoning off. Still crosses for a 964 at 128 mile per hour. So the Mixed Motorsport crew getting their heads around that combination. Great to see. I reckon the boys are going to go back out there. They're going to grab hold of that driver. They go, "What are you doing, mate? Hang on to it. Keep your boot in." Yeah, stop lifting, you know. Expletive, certain name that we shouldn't say on, you know, online, etc. I'm sure everyone will give him a hard time, but it's not easy, you know. Sometimes you're going to be in the car and it makes a bit of a move in the big end, and it is, you know, you've really got to clench your teeth and keep the foot buried to get that time sometimes. So, and you know, it takes a little while just to trust the car and know that it's going to be all right. So I'm sure the guys will be able to turn that around and get back out. Unfortunately, I think I saw from the camera in the staging lanes that the Executor Evo Looks like it's got a bit of an issue. That turbo was extremely smoky when they fired it back up out there, and it's gone back to the pits. So it could just be an oil drain thing. We know, there's plenty of jokes out there with precision turbo being smoky, so it's not always just the fact that the turbos are precision, a reason why it's smoky, but often, when you've got a turbocharged combination, you've got to make sure that the turbo drain itself, so the oil drain coming from the core, can flow back into the sump, or wherever, or to a scavenge tank if it's a dry sump application or something along those lines. It's really crucial because while you need to feed the oil to the turbo, it's got to get out of the turbo as well. And because all you have is gravity to get it out of there, unless you have a scavenge pump, you've got to make sure that that line is, is constantly running in a downward direction. So it can't have any flats in it, but that's easier said than done on an Evo combination where often the turbo is mounted quite low in front of the motor, so there's not a great deal of fall from the bottom of the turbo, especially on a large frame turbo, to a sump if it's still running a wet sump. And in those cases, you might want to make it a little sump, which is just a drain sump off the bottom of the turbo, and then run a scavenge pump out of there to clean that oil out. Because when it doesn't get out of there, it's going to overcome the seals in the turbo. It's going to leak into the turbine housing. You're going to have a lot of smoke, as we see quite regularly. But the more and more it does that, you're going to get oil coking. So the oil itself's going to burn. It's going to go all carbon. It's going to get all crusty. It's going to get in there. It's going to damage the turbo. So it's something that unfortunately is overlooked quite often in an aftermarket turbo setup for people that haven't done it before.
So I just had a chat to the driver.
Yes, Stu.
In that Mazda MPS. And he was just telling me that he's involved with a workshop over in the US. And the reason it smoked the way it did is because they put a fairly big tune in it. So he's gone back to an old tune and just trying to get it down the track. Obviously what they put in it was fairly aggressive. So they've just pegged it back a little bit. But I can tell you, Pat, that he's got the good names on the back of it. Of course, Elite Pro Tuning, of course, Cork Sport and Cobb as well. Right behind, of course, Cork Sport, as we all know. They do a lot of great parts for the late model Mazdas.
Yeah, definitely. We just had another nice little earlier generation of 123 RX-7 run through here, Stu. We'll see that back out again.
Yeah, that car's actually got a set of radials on the rear end of it. The gentleman just told me he's been away for work, so come back, do a little bit of racing and see if he can improve on the times out of that 13B powered RX-7.
That's what it's all about, mate. Let's get out there, go and put the hard yards in, earn the cash, come back, enjoy the fruits of your labour. All right, so we do have the hardtop down here with the Barra Power, so they've been creeping up on that, and the Mazda 6 MPS pulling up to the line. So let's see if both cars can work on a PB for the evening. Both into stage with the lights dropping. Aggressive launch from the Mazda 6, a 1.9 60 foot, which is definitely on the money for that platform. The Falcon is making a nice pass on this one. Still a little slower in the 60 foot, but as Stu said, that thing has about 15 kilometres on it. Plus maybe, it's done 4 or 5 passes, so maybe 2 kilometres, 17 Ks total on that package, so definitely getting ahead around things. No such black smoke, extra fuel from the Mazda 6 this time. Oh, bit of figuring out happening by the Audi in the rocket lane there when it comes to staging, but Evo off for a nice pass on this one. 12.36, 112 miles per hour to a 12.05 at 114 for the Audi. Here we go. We've got strapped 34 GTR from B2R Motorsports back in the Aeroflow lane, just pulling into the Burnout box. It's going to get that staged up in a second. We're just waiting for those previous vehicles to pull around onto the return road, which looks like they have both gone around. We're just double checking in the big end of the track for any sort of oil or anything that's been left down there. Again, #1 priority here at Sydney Dragway is safety for all of our races, and that includes from the start of the track to the very end, making sure that everything is working well. Especially when you've got something like Strapped about to come up and make a pass. Here it comes. We get up on the converter for that auto box behind the RB, and it sings the sound of our people. Very nice. So we've got the little Cerex Del Sol turbo car. Now that the sun's gone down and it's a little bit darker out there, I can actually see the IC7 dash in the cockpit of the Del Sol, so definitely some Haltech engine management happening there in the CRX, which is good to see. All right, CRX in stage. Will get strapped to make its way forward. All right, in full stage now. Get the car to build up some boost. Build nitrous to help it get there. Let's see what it's got. CRX off with a 2.160. 34 leaves cleanly and is pouring the power on. Oh, just really walking the line down the center of the track. 8.36 at 171.95 mile per hour. Congratulations to the guys, B2R and Strapped. That is a killer pass and no doubt more to come. Yeah, you're right, Ben. Unfortunately, on a Wednesday night, 850 is generally the cutoff for in inverted commas street cars. Yeah, 170 mile per hour. I don't think he didn't pull the chute, did he? No. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's got a chute on it. I think, unless I'm dreaming. Maybe it's just the black number plates that maybe think it had a chute on it, but I can see Will's going for a walk, so that usually means that he's going to have a chat with someone. But it's been a not so quiet achiever, this Holden Ute down here in the Rocket Lane. It's been out here all night, just making a few passes. I haven't seen the car before myself, so I'm sure it's maybe a new combination for the driver. Come down and have a bit of fun at Race for Real here at Sydney Dragway, and the FG XR6 in the Aeroflow lane. Right, peeling out the Holden in the Rocket Lane, a 2.160 foot, 2.4 from the FG. Ute is going to head on down to the big end of the track, and it's going to pass at a 12.99 with a 2 at 106 miles per hour. To a 15.98 with a 5 at 87 for the XR6 and a Barra in the Aeroflow lane. Great to see on the live stream. Everyone up with the DJ at Wallsend. Had a great night. Kyla's having a great birthday, 15 years old today. Once again, happy birthday. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. The whole family up there at Wallsend. Great to see. All right. A couple of cars making their way down the track. There's a vehicle there. We've got a 16.0 at 86 to a 16.5 at 87 mile per hour. We've got this little early series RX-7 back out. Speaking of, Benny, we always say I'm getting the early Commodores wrong, or the Holdens wrong, or the Fords wrong. I'm going to get the RX-7 wrong as well, because I can't tell if it's a 1, 2, or a 3. I'll be honest, I don't know if it's a 1, 2, or 3 if I'm standing next to the thing. I know it's one of them. I just don't know which one it is. But looks like it. I think it might have actually thrown a belt by the looks of things, or something came out of that RX-7 in the Aeroflow lane. Still runs on for a 12.27, 126 mile per hour. To a 15.45 in the Rocket lane. But yeah, something was ejected from the RX-7 there, but no big deal. Back on again. All right, we've got the two SS Commodores back at the line together again. These guys have been a matched pair all night, almost. What do you think, Stu? Back up from downstairs?
Mate, it's great down there. All the Burnout boys, they're down there, the Kalidi Motorsports crew. They're down there getting ready to hit the pad a little bit later. I've got Mr. Grumpy here again tonight as well. Throwing rods is here as well for the Burnouts. Now, I just had a quick chat with the boys with the Hi-Ace van. It's actually got a Lexus V8 in it. And they've got a few little battery dramas at the moment, so hopefully they can charge the battery and get that car back out. But as I was walking through the staging lanes, there was a little bit of a leak, what looked like coming out of a line just above the turbo in the Elite Auto House Evo. Yep. So obviously they've taken the car back. That's why there's a fair bit of smoke out of it as well. So hopefully those guys can get that car fixed and they'll hopefully bring it back out for another pass. But look, better to be safe than sorry. Now we've got this big HQ coming out. Now this thing's actually running a set of radials on the rear end of it. I thought they were slicks, but they're actually quite a big size radial.
That's probably one of the reasons why they've had some issues getting it off the line, right? It's not an easy task when you throw all of the power at a radial off the line. So definitely some tweaking to be had, but I'm sure they'll get there.
Now, John just asked via the live stream, what happens when these Evos all run quicker than 8.5? Well, effectively, if they run quicker than 8.5, they won't be able to run. So we have a limit of 8.50 on the street at a street meet.
Yep, and that's got to do with basically the track prep, the safety team that's here, a bunch of different things. But we've got when you're going faster than 850, I know again in inverted commas street cars. By the way, the HQ got out of the hole really nicely that time, 151. It goes on for an 895 at 160 miles per hour, shoots out. So big congrats to those guys. That's a big PB of the night. Oh. But yeah, as you're heading down, deep into that 8-second territory, Stu, that's race car territory, realistically. And we do have plenty of different options when it comes to events, test and tunes, full throttle Fridays, things like that you can run that car at. And, the track's going to be better prepped. The crew are going to be, there's going to be more crew on board. We're going to have, vehicles that are all here for the same purpose, and that's to run PBs and ETs. So when it's a Wednesday night street meet, you've got to remember that we're going to prep the track for a street car on street tyres. They don't really like a lot of track prep. They don't like a really bitey track. As much as everyone that's got a fast car is running, for a PB and they want the track to be set on kill, the guy that's got his completely standard Commodore, for example, the last thing he wants to do is drive his car out here, have a bit of fun, and then axle tramp the hell out of it because the track's really glued up, and break a CV, an axle, something like that, damage something else on the car. So you've got to be reasonable when you consider the track prep. And that's why we sort of put a limit on certain things, to try and dissuade people, say, trying to come out here in a 6-second car, for example, on a Wednesday night, which it's just a bit unrealistic. So we love seeing guys down in the 8s because it's pretty cool. It's definitely cool. But, we've got to draw the line somewhere on a street meet.
That's right. And look, and even an 850 on a street prep, as we've seen, can get a little bit hairy. Even in a standard street car, it can get a little bit hairy too. I mean, some people think that when the tyres are spinning, some people think they've got to keep their foot to it, and sometimes, unfortunately, that's what happens. So, we've seen a couple of little whoopsies over the years at a street meet where people thought they can drive and they can't, and unfortunately it's ended up in tears. So we do err on the side of safety here at Sydney Dragway. But a lot of that comes down to the drivers of the cars too. Now I can see Baghdad being moved forward into position, so it shouldn't be too much longer, and we will see the Mixed Motorsport Evo making its way out onto the track. But the two Falcons are down on track at the moment, having a good run against each other. 0.411 on the tree there for the Silver Falcon in the Rocket Lane. And the BF in the Aeroflow lane doing the chasing. 15.27 to 15.97. Now, I did see one car out the back that had a Precision Racing sticker on it. So we know that the guys have had a fair bit of work done by Joe and his team. And they've been doing a lot of cars, not just that twin-turbo Lamborghini. They do have a lot of cars in their workshop and customer base, which is fantastic to see. As the V Commodore up against the Audi. Now, the Audi with the four-wheel drive, a little bit sleepy on the line there. The Commodore got the jump. The Audi's coming back at him. He went a tenth of a second quicker in the 60, but the Commodore with a better reaction time, 16:34 to a 15:97. All right, Baghdad is out now. We're going Pro Street Evo. Get your phones out. If you're up in the stands, get ready, guys, because, hey, we're very fortunate to have the big red machine back here on track this weekend. Absolutely. Winds it up.
Oh, dang. Looks like maybe some sort of engine limiting factor spoiling the fun off the line as the clutch was dropped. It sounded like it was definitely dropping cylinders at the same time. So nothing under the car, and it has refired by the sounds of things. Possibly. You're going to get it back off. Every now and again, these aftermarket ECUs, Stu, they've got engine protection built into them. The tuner guys will put some little parameters in there. So if there's something that it doesn't like the look of, whether the AFR is too lean, for example, or oil pressure is too low, or whatever it might be, something's not right and the planets aren't aligned, it'll limit engine power or introduce a really low limiter to basically tell the driver that, hey, don't. I bought this run. I'm not going to let it go through. Sometimes, unfortunately, that happens when you're trying to make a pass, and it doesn't pay off. But that's all right. The guys will get back around. They'll double check everything's okay mechanically, and I'm sure we'll see them again this evening.
Well, it looks like Strapped is being put back on the tilt tray.
It's been strapped onto the truck after it went 836 at 171 mile per hour with no parachute.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's got a cage in it, that car. So, yeah. But that's a very fast street car.
It is.
Yeah, B2R have put something together. Pretty special there.
Well, I knew something happened because Anthony Matuk went straight over to the car and went, yeah, well done. So I know when Anthony gives somebody credit, they would have gone fast.
Well, it's just it's all good competition,
it is good
right?
competition.
That's the thing. Like, Anthony's got no shortage of fast GTRs from his stable. We all know the Matuk's Racing situation there. Whether it's a VL or a GTR or whatever it might be. But if the B2R guys come out here and they give his customers a run for his money, they're going to be calling him on Monday and say, "I want to beat that car," and then he's just going to be busy again. So, yeah, great to see it out there, and might be a great competitor for the next Roll Drags event when we get that cranked back up in the new year. So, something you can come out and have a go at. It's different regulations, different rules when it comes to Roll Drags for safety requirements in the vehicle because of the nature of the event.
Well, UFO Sorcery Engineering is asking, is there Empire and Mechanical Falcon, or is the Hoff there tonight? Well, I haven't seen any of those cars this evening.
No, definitely haven't seen the Empire guys here for a couple of weeks. That's for sure. I know the boys are flat out. They've got obviously the end of the year is coming up soon, so they've got plenty of customer cars to get out of the shop. So it's heads down, bum up for those guys. Working on turning out a few more weapons, and we've seen some things on social media recently. They're turning out some 1,000 horsepower here, 1,100 horsepower there, 1,200 horsepower over here. It's it's the place to be if you want to make some horsepower for sure. The Hoff, no, I don't think the Hoff is here. I'm pretty sure Hoff's based out of Queensland. If we're talking about a gentleman from Cleveland, Dyno and Exhaust, I think
so, yeah.
From memory.
Now, the Carnival Worldwide, who's watching the live stream, was asking what necessitates a cage being fitted in Australia. Well, effectively, the Carnival Worldwide, your car can run, if it goes over 140 miles per hour, you have to get a cage and you've got to put a chute in.
Yeah, well, it's ET and speed,
ET
right?
and
So
speed,
depending on what it is, and then what the age of the car is as well. There's a couple of sort of loopholes, but as a general rule, the easiest thing to see is if the car runs faster than a 9-second, than a 10-second pass, and it's built before 2003, it'll need a cage. If it runs more than 140 mile per hour, then it's going to need a parachute. So depending on the combination of what you've done, ET versus mile per hour, you may need both of those. There's certain categories now, which is probably important that we touch on, Stu, you know, the real street categories that have been introduced by IHRA, which is the governing or the sanctioning body here at Sydney Dragway. If you have a vehicle that is built from 2000 and technically it's 2002 because of certain models through to 2000 and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I think it's 2002 to 2013. You can run down to 950 at 150 miles per hour. So you can do that without a cage, as long as the vehicle has four-wheel disc brakes, airbags, ABS, things like that. So it's a modern street car rule. So you can go 950 at 150, and then if the vehicle is later than 2013, you can run again with all of the same things: traction, stability, airbags, disc brakes, etc. You can run down to a 90 at 170 miles per hour, but you do require a parachute once you go past 150 mile per hour. So there's a couple of loopholes there when it comes to, you know, what speed and you know what ET you require a roll cage. But my car, I've got a 2002 VX Commodore. It was the same thing. I had a Real Street B license, which was the 950 at 150. Come out here on a Sunday with a couple of things worked out and decided to run a 936. Ended my day very early on the first run. That was silly. Such a rookie mistake. So yeah, it was basically, you know, Will came down and he said, "Hey man, I heard you ran a great time." And I went, "Oh, maybe." He said, "Yeah, you got to go and get a cage now." So off it went, caged up. Now we're getting ready to come back out. We've just got to get it teched and we're back out here. But that's basically the run.
Well, the R33 back out, a little bit softer on the launch there, 2.44 in the 60. And straight down the centre of the Aeroflow lane goes a 1294 at a 118. As we've got this P-plater back out, doing it the right way here at the track, and he's taking on the big Chrysler 300C. All right, the big 300C out with a 2.11 in the 60. The big Hemi V8 screaming its head off down the rocket lane, nice and straight, and cruises on through 1271 at 111.7 to a 1549 at 93 as Bosby comes out now. This beautiful black and yellow Mustang GT. He's going to be taking on the Statesman down here in the Aeroflow performance lane.
Should be a good matchup, Stu.
Should be.
Ford versus Holden. Both cars have been running pretty well tonight.
So Coyote up against the LS. The Commodore out with the 6.9 in the 60. Runs on through 11.06 with a 1 to a 13.21. Great pass there.
Knocking on the door of a 10-second pass, and I got a feeling the Mustang might be knocking on Rocket's door tomorrow for some radial tyres.
I reckon it might be.
To get a nice sticky Mickey Thompson under that thing and get it out of the hole. It's definitely struggling for traction there, trying to get all that power down from that Coyote.
Well, I'm wondering if that's one of the Northmead performance cars, because I know Northmead were doing a fair bit of work on a number of Mustangs earlier on in the year.
Definitely could be.
Well, 1487 or 1532 as we've got the old Holden Ute coming out. Now, what might look a bit daggy to some people, to people like me, it actually looks really cool. I like it. Making all the right noises in the Burnout. He's taking on Psycho.
Yeah, it ran a 12.99 just before as well, so definitely a bit of a sleeper. We got both cars into the staging beams here. We've got Psycho in full stage. We've got the Holden Ute in full stage now. Let's wait for the lights to drop.
Well, not too much between them in the 60.
It's going to be a close pass to the end of the track by the looks of things, Stu.
Well, I think the old Ute has got it. Yeah, 13.06 to a 13.07.
That's pretty close. 0.15 margin of victory to the Ute there. So, yeah, not a lot in it at all. That's another great match pair that's come through.
That's a great side-by-side drag race right there. Well, we've got the V Commodore coming out now against the Audi. Yeah, it's nice and warm outside, but it's not unbearable. Still a little bit of very, very, very slight breeze here at Sydney Dragway.
Yeah, you can see Aeroflow flag on the western side, just kicking along a little bit, but it's down to 26 there, which makes for a really nice night. But yeah, not as cool as I thought or I'd hoped it was going to get to tonight, Stu.
No. So when I was down in the pits, Pat, I caught up with Reece Forrester and Shane Davies from Kalidi Motorsport. Of course, Reece was here at Aeroflow Tyre Thrashing Thursday in 0Fs, and the first thing he said to me was, "Stu, did you bring your helmet?" And it's like, "I didn't, mate." He goes, "Oh, I could organise one." He actually wants me to jump in the passenger seat and commentate while he's doing the burnout. Now, while that might sound really cool to most people that may be watching the live stream, I can tell you guys it's not easy. I've tried to commentate from a car before, a burnout car, and yeah, it's kind of wasting my time. So as cool as it is, I don't think I'll be commentating from the burnout car. I think I'll be having too much fun. So Lydia out with a .259, and the Evo has broken the beams. So we just got to wait for Lydia to head down the rocket lane, and then we will send this Evo 10.
Yeah, I reckon we just need probably a Kirky seat and a 5-point harness for you in a burnout car. If we can strap you in tight enough so you're not flying around everywhere and then stick a lapel mic on you, I reckon we'll be able to get you doing some commentary in a burnout car.
Well, I've did it one year actually, Pat. I was in a V8 powered Hyundai XL.
Why not?
That used to do burnouts here, a pro car. And look, it was fun, but look, when you're trying to commentate and you've got the sound of the engine, you've got all that smoke, it is not easy to commentate from a car. So, and besides which, nobody can understand what you're saying. So,
well, not with that attitude, Stu.
Well, I can tell you what.
Get back in and give it another crack, mate.
Well, I know for a fact.
The people want the rocket in the passenger seat while you're doing a skis, mate.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll bring my helmet at some stage when I'm not that busy, and I will definitely, when we've got 3 commentators on, I'll definitely bring my helmet, and I will jump in the skid car at one stage.
Everyone on the stream is going to hold you to that, mate.
Oh, I know they will.
Including Ben.
Yeah, no, I'll bring my helmet, and it is a full face, so it might be a little bit difficult to commentate from. Your head's bigger than mine.
Ben, all I'm hearing is excuses here. You know. No, look, I'm sure the Kalidi guys and everyone else that's here for burnouts later on are going to get everyone hyped up in the crowd. Stu, I know you're going to get down there and give them a hype up, and we're going to see plenty of limiter fingers.
Oh, there's a few kids out there, so and the kids have got the best limiter fingers here at Sydney Dragway, so they'll be into it.
No compensation for sprained limiter fingers, by the way.
Oh,
at Sydney
absolutely
Dragway. It's excluded from the policy. So
that's exactly right. We had a few last Thursday, I can assure you, up in the crowd.
Sprained limiter fingers.
Everyone's up there. Yeah, even me. I was up there as well. I was been a bit of a fan while there were a few skids on.
No doubt. All right. What have we got rolling through here? I think we might have...
we got the VPR Auto.
VH.
I love this thing.
Again. It has run a 10, so let's see if the guys can't chip away a little bit further on that one.
Now, there's a gentleman that normally comes out here who's got a VPR Auto VK. Now, that car has run down into the 11s, and he was out here racing a week or two ago, and he's desperately trying to get that car into the 10s with his current combination. And he did say to me, once he gets that done, he will pull the car off the road and start doing some more work to it to make it go a little bit quicker.
Yep.
But it's great to see the guys from VPR Auto here with another one of their cars. He's taking on the Audi down there in the Aeroflow lane.
See a little bit of chirp and just dusting the tyres a little bit through the 60 there at 199.60. It's a little bit off on that one, I think, but let's see it run on through for 11.12 at 131. So it's just doesn't really want to play the game, the VH tonight. It has given him the number, obviously. It's gone a 10, but it's making the driver work hard for the consistency.
Now, one thing I forgot to touch on, Pat, we're as my seat goes down again, and I almost got my foot stuck under it. We're very lucky tonight because one of our old officials who moved to Queensland, he's come back down for the weekend. Baldy, g'day Baldy.
Hey Baldy.
Because Baldy was and still is a big part of the Sydney Dragway officials family. And you know, when I first started here, Baldy taught me a lot as well about drag racing. And of course, he's moved to Queensland. Is now a part of Willowbank. And Willowbank, I'm going to put it out there, you guys are very lucky to have Baldy up there as part of your team. But it is great to have him here tonight on the starter button.
I want to know, did someone rope him in to be in the starter, or do you reckon he did it by choice?
I don't know, but one thing I want to touch on, see, Benji, who works up here in the studio, Benji's a bit of a metalhead, as some of our regulars on our live stream know, and Baldy's into his heavy metal as well. So it's always good to learn from those two about what's coming out in the metal scene, you know, because I love heavy metal music as much as I love country and a lot of other stuff. I listen to a lot of music, but I've got to go to a rock concert with Baldy, you know, because Baldy's like 6 foot tall, and like I'm like 5 foot something. So, you know, I'd love to go to a metal concert with him and Ben. We'd be like full head banging the whole time. It'd be unreal. It'd be better. It'd be like when I'm doing a Burnout event, you know, up in the crowd and everyone's just there going, yeah! It's crazy up there. I love it.
That's another one that we need. We need some more video footage of, I think, if that ever happens.
I reckon that'd be awesome. All right, Lydia back out in the Navara, hashtag NavLife, and she's taking on the Falcon.
Such a tough balance, getting those Falcons off the line cleanly. With that IRS, you're trying to build some boost on the converter when you're on the brake. It's squatting, it's picking the wheels up, it wants to turn the tyres as you let it go. Still runs through for an 11.27 at 128. Lydia crossing for an 18.80 at 71 mile per hour with great reaction time from Lydia there, an 0.34, I think her best of the night, which is good to see. But yeah, that Falcon, man, there's a 10 in there. There's a 10 in there, just got to get it off the line. So.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it?
Nope. We've got,
if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Exactly
Isn't that right, Pat?
Exactly right.
All right, the Evo 10 going down in the Aeroflow lane, 0.089 on the tree. They got their eye in now. That's good to see. 14.04 with a 9 at 93.11.
All right, runs through. We've got Baghdad down, waiting to move up into the rocket lane. All right, so we're just waiting for the big end of the track to be cleared. Just got the little Evo 10. It's actually stopped at the end of the track there. Just having a word to Marshall, but I think everything's okay. It's going to move around the corner now. All right, and we'll get everything cleared away. We'll get the okay from the big end of the track.
All right, guys, I've just been told that due to a little bit of weather that is floating around the track, we're actually going to bring the Burnout cars out a little bit earlier. We're going to bring them out around 9 o'clock. There is a bit of a storm floating around, and just judging by the weather map, there is a possibility we might just catch the edge of it. So I've just been told they're going to bring the Burnout cars out around 9 o'clock. All right, the mixed motorsport, Evo is out Baghdad. Now he's in the rocket lane.
Yeah, it's funny how some, so, you know, the prep is basically the same left and right, but some people just prefer to be on that side of the track, or you know, the left side of the track, whichever it may be. But let's see if we can't get time out of this. We're going to get Baghdad building up the boost. We're going to get it onto the two-step. He's going to get that turbo singing. Comes off the line relatively cleanly at 175. The car is running straight. Tags the limiter a little bit, but he's still pulling gears as it moves on down the track. 918 at 174. Definitely lost some time, some ET with that little limiter bash there, Stu. So, look, definitely some big steps forward for this car. 174 miles per hour is not hanging around in any way, shape or form. So the guys are on it. But, you know, definitely a little bit more seat time. A little bit more consistency with that. There's a lot going on in an Evo, if you're not aware, when it's heading off for a 174 mile per hour pass. So don't be too quick to dismiss the driving ability of anyone trying to steer one of those things down the track.
No, and look, that was pretty straight by Evo terms as well. Yep. But you know what? A credit to the mixed motorsport crew. They probably maybe just backed down a little bit. Go from A to B, still run 174 miles per hour, but I think maybe just tone it down in the first half of the racetrack.
Yeah, it might have pulled a little bit out of the launch, you know, maybe not building quite as much boost, but it still did get off the line pretty cleanly. A 175 60 is not bad for an Evo. So, yeah, but that's what Wednesdays are about, Stu. You know, you come out here, you test the thing, tune it up, you know, figure it out.
Now, I can see that Toyota Corolla GR out the back. Now, I know they're out here supporting one of the cars, but I'd really love to see it on the drag strip.
Yeah, see what they can do. See what they can do. It's got the 3-pot turbocharged engine from the Yaris with a couple of different changes. Makes a little bit more power than the GR Yaris. Same platform, but yeah, there's another car with a lot of potential. You know, I mean, the Yarises are getting pretty quick now.
They are.
You know, Charles Lampspeed, I think he's still running the record in his with you know, larger turbo and obviously a lot of action there. I think it's got a sequential gearbox in it now as well.
I believe so. Yep.
In that, so yeah, a lot of potential there, and hopefully the Corolla can follow suit.
Now, I did see on our track cam up here that got the staging lanes, there was a Ford Capri that had very small tyres in massive tubs, so I dare say we're going to see this car on the Burnout pad a little bit later. It's got a big West End performance sticker on the back of it, Pat, so you know it's got probably got the Windsor motor in it.
You know it's pretty spicy.
Oh, yeah.
That's usually the case with that. But also, out in the staging lanes, we can see Executor has managed to make its way back around to lane 6, so they're going to get that through and ready. I can also see Baghdad is doing the quick U-turn on the return road, so hopefully they'll be able to get that through for another pass before we jump over to the Burnouts.
Yeah, just one thing though with those Evo guys, I don't know if you can hear me, guys, just be a little bit mindful when you're coming up the return road, guys. It's not the racetrack, so we do have a speed limit there for a reason. Okay, it is a safety thing. All right, 14.66 there to 15.49 as the R33 comes out with no burnout this time. And Lydia coming back out again as well. All right, Lydia out with a .130 in the 60. Fair bit of tyre spin there for the R33, 2.31 in the 60. Rounds Lydia around the 540. And just cruising on through for a 15.24.
Stu, unfortunately, I think the R33 may have had a bit of a clutch issue there. I could see, you could hear a bit of limiter down the track, and I could see a few pops of flame out of the exhaust there, which sometimes means that something's not happy.
Just to UFC Sorcery Engineering, yeah, there are speed limits on the return road, not on the track. So we have that as part of our safety protocol here at Sydney Dragway.
That was the SRT 300 making its way down for a 13.26, 110 mile per hour to a 13.32 at 102 in Aeroflow lane. I think we may have another Evo making its way through, or not just yet. We're just waiting on the next vehicle to make its way through the tunnel.
Right,
sounds like Executor.
Yep. Not mucking around.
Definitely no time for the burnout box for the Executor. It's definitely getting up into stage. He wants to make this happen. So he's going to bring it in. Pre-stage lights on, full stage lights on. Car is stalled up. We're going to bring it up on the two-step. And we were going to try to back up that record pass. Comes off the line aggressively. Just backing off a little bit.
A lot of smoke.
Fighting the car as it goes down the track. Yeah, not a happy combination, I would say, there for the Evo. But that is what happens when you're pushing the limits of any combination and really trying to chase it. You can see there was plenty of power on show in the mid-track, 1098, 103 miles per hour. But it has just got the track team checking everything out down there. There's a bit of smoke on board, so something related to that oiling issue with the turbo. I would say the guys, I'm sure, will get it back, figure everything out. We just want to make sure that the track is safe for the rest of the team, the rest of the competitors getting out there.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of smoke out of that car. So obviously it's a little bit of a recurring problem this evening for the Elite Auto House guys, but it is great to have them here as part of Aeroflow Race for Real. Now this Falcon driver getting a little bit overzealous.
Yeah, just missing the instruction from the track crew there. Took the movie car back for the burnout sign. That's all right. We'll get them all sorted out. We're going to move these cars back and probably run the tractor up and down the track. So while we do that, we'll duck off for a couple of ads. Hopefully we'll come back for a few more passes before the skid cars make their way to the Sydney Dragway Burnout Pit. We'll be right back here at Race for Real.
Boosted turbochargers from Aeroflow Performance are designed for the automotive enthusiast who wants optimal performance at a competitive price. We have a range of turbochargers in both ceramic ball bearing and 360-degree journal bearing options to suit your power goals from 200 up to 3,000 horsepower. To help turbocharge your vehicle, Aeroflow Performance also have a large range of turbocharger accessories. From steam pipe turbo manifolds, external wastegates and intake and exhaust solutions, you can have your car boosted in no time. For a full listing, check out aeroflowperformance.com.
Speed Addict Clothing Co. Fast clothes for fast people. Shop now.
Not slow.
Not difficult.
Not just ticking boxes.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
Aeroflow Performance provides a wide range of high-quality performance products for races, street machines and hot rods. Aeroflow Performance provides a wide range of high-quality performance products for racers, street machines and hot rodders. From fittings, fuel system components, intake solutions and even turbocharger systems, you can see it all at aeroflowperformance.com.
BikeReview.com.au is Australia's leading website for performance and modified motorcycles. BikeReview.com.au is the only motorcycle-focused website to feature motorcycle drag racing on a regular basis. And in the words of editor Jeff Ware, our involvement with Sydney Dragway is our way of putting back into one of our favourite sports. BikeReview.com.au. Stay informed, up-to-date and entertained thanks to Para News. Para News is Parramatta and the Cumberland area's leading free and local newspaper, delivering the best content from on-the-ground journalists and providing businesses with direct access to potential customers. News, sport, entertainment, puzzles and so much more. Para News really is the heartbeat of Parramatta and Cumberland, and it's out every Tuesday. Get your free copy at selected locations in the area or check out paranews.com.au.
Bank said no to your home loan? Talk to us.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
Whether you're building a street machine or a race car, Aeroflow Performance has a solution for you. Our ever-increasing range features boosted turbocharger systems, Bosch Motorsport products, X-Pro electrical systems, hoses and fittings, bang shift shifters, differential parts and fabrication components. You can see it all on aeroflowperformance.com.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's,
We've also got Shannon's Home and Contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
I've chosen to use VP Racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now. I just have a really personal trust with VP Racing fuels.
Running on the ragged edge of blowing up and not, a lot of it has to do with the race fuel, and that's what we rely on, VP Racing fuels.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
All right, so it looks like we have the track tidied up again and ready to welcome some more racers into the lanes. So we've got Evo 10 going around the water in the rocket lane, and we've got the little FG XR6 peeling out through the burnout box. They're going to come up and accept the staging beams that we're going to run. We do have a few more cars going to come through for some passes before the burnouts start. Usually the burnouts start around 9:30 on this, but we may be bringing them forward a little bit tonight. We've just got to keep an eye on a bit of weather. But the Evo 10 in the rocket lane off for a 14:39 at 94 miles per hour, and the XR6 a 15:57 at 92. Nice and consistent. Okay.
So one thing I meant to ask you earlier this evening, and actually only just stepped in my mind again. The Nitro Funny Cars just got back to the workshop last week.
Yes, from
after
Perth.
their awesome event over in Perth.
Yep.
How much work have the boys got at the moment? Have they got a fair bit to get done before Christmas, or it's a bit of a, get what we can done and then when we come back finish it?
It's not too bad, even though the temperature was really high in Perth. It was really, really hot during the day. the earlier running was taking a toll on the crew, definitely, and the drivers because of the temperature, but the carnage that we usually see from running big show funny cars it was not that bad generally. We didn't really hurt any. The boys, I should say, didn't really hurt any racks in a major, in a major way. There's no blocks with windows in them, which is always great to see. So the guys will just be working on getting the cars all turned around, squared away, making sure, going over some data and taking what they can. The cars ran quite well considering the track conditions. The evening was quite good. It did cool off quite a bit, being where they are, near Kwinana, south of Perth. There, it does generally have a bit of a breeze in the evening, so it can take a bit of heat out. So that's always good to see for the guys. But when it comes to a nitro funny car, there's only so much that you can pull out of them. So when the track conditions aren't great, it's hard to get the cars down the track because, the thing just wants to make so much power. The guys overcome that. Morris, Brandon, the rest of the crew. We had Gareth, crew chief, back, or car chief, back in the country after his honeymoon with beautiful wife Brooke. So it's great to have the team back at full strength. Josh and Kelsey Lay there with the crew as well over in Perth. So great to see them. Here goes this great Holden HQ, Stu, just in between story time there, a 150.60, which I think is one of the best for the evening. It's going to cross for an 882 at 161 mile per hour. Great pass from the Holden there. Lydia definitely trying for that reaction time as well. She's left a cherry on the tree with that one, but no big deal. And as those cars make their way down the track, here we have Baghdad, the Evo. They're going to give it a go in the Aeroflow lane again. Tonight, we're just going to hold them up as we wait for Lydia and the Navara just to make our way down to the big end of the track around to the return road. But let's see, the guys came back from that last pass with a bit of a stutter off the line in a hurry. I think they knew what they needed to get changed on that car to get it back to the line. Let's see, we'll get the car into stage. All right, gonna bring it up on the two-step. Let's see what Baghdad's got for us at Sydney Dragway. Pulls strong through the first couple of gears. It wants to go to the center line, keep it off the line. A big jump to the left. Crosses the 943 at 134 miles per hour. Man, they must be throwing some power at that thing towards the second half of the track, Stu, because it is jumping around all over the place. Big lift, still crossing 134 mile per hour. That's it's trying to do the time warp.
Well, he was very, very lucky not to take the timing blocks out around half track either. And unfortunately, with the 50-50 split in the drive that they've got in those Pro Street Evos, you've only got to get off line and get out into no man's land, as we affectionately call it, where at the centre of the track there's not a lot of rubber down there either. And the other side of the car just grips up and spits it over to the left. It's a great save from that car. But look, they've had a fairly productive night. They've got a fair bit of data on that car for the first quarter of the racetrack. Now they can start working on the half track.
Yep, I think you're spot on there, Stu. If nothing else, if it's not a record, it's still a learning curve.
That's right.
And you called it, data is the important thing, because without it, you don't know where to improve.
No,
so
that's right.
Even if if you're making close to a full pass, if it's not a record time or a PB or anything like that, you still can go over the data. You can go, okay, all right, there's it fell off. Boost here or something, or we had too much timing or whatever it might be, or this was a problem. The boost fell over here. An engine limiting factor came in. The driver lifted. There's the other, that's the other factor. Sometimes it needs to be a driver mod to get the car down there.
We could hear the pedal in it, couldn't you, Pat? Around half track, when it tracked right, you could hear him on and off the throttle, just try and get the car out off the centre line and get it back into the centre of the lane.
That's right, and it's not easy, because if the car all of a sudden wants to move one direction, your natural reaction is to catch the wheel quickly and steer it the other way.
Sure.
And now, if you're still into the power and all of a sudden you've got drive going through those front wheels, they're pointing a different direction. The car's going to want to go back that other way as well.
Sure.
So you've got to balance out the, catching the move one way and then, anticipating what it's going to do the next. So, these lanes are fairly wide when you compare it to maybe a regular street, a street lane, but it gets real narrow when the car's moving around that fast. Definitely 170, but I know they've turned the car around, so they want to get one more pass by the looks of things. So we're going to see this R33 and the FGX R6 go down for another pass. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 33, the clutch in the 33 is not happy.
Well, after the burnouts he was doing this evening, that probably didn't help the situation either.
Yeah, it's
that car.
It's had some punishment for sure.
It has. All right, Baghdad is back out, this nitrous-assisted Evo. And we've got the Caprice now. I dare say we will probably send the Caprice first.
Possibly, but looks like they're going to accept both cars at the line. I think it's pretty safe to say that the Evo is going to be out, without sounding too harsh. Evo's going to round up the Caprice fairly cleanly, but let's have a look. Here it goes. Definitely very aggressive off the line. Maybe a little bit too much, unfortunately, for the guys there. A 167.60 turning the tyres. That's basically the number that they'd like to see, but yeah, not to be. I think maybe got into the limiter pretty hard and shut things down. So looks like that is going to be. Looks like we've got one more pair, maybe.
Yep.
Looks like one more pair to race, and that's going to be, I think, our last pass. We can see the Burnout cars are making their way across the pad to come back around and stage up, ready for some skids tonight, Stu. I'm guessing you're going to make your way down there and do some hooting and some hollering.
Absolutely.
You didn't bring your hat tonight.
The hat's in the car, actually.
Oh, the hat's in the car.
I did bring the hat tonight. But, no, one thing that Reece did touch on, actually, Reece Forrester, who's just gone out, the last Burnout car to go across the pad, they had all their engines built by Shorty's Performance. So, as you said, we just want to prove that we can back it up. We can go week to week on that car. Of course, Shorty's Performance, great engine builders. They don't just do the Kalidi Motorsport cars, they do a couple of other cars as well. And the Gingerbread Man, who does the tuning on the cars as well, Clint and the team, they do a great job. And we'll see those cars out on the pad very, very soon. I'm going to make my way down to the Burnout pad. To everybody that's watching on Facebook, yes, the skid cars are out, guys. We're going to be about getting into the Burnouts very, very soon.
All right, so that was our last pair down the drag strip for the evening. So as Stewie said, we are going to jump across and get the Burnout cars ready. Just before that happens, we're going to jump off to some ads, I think. We might pay a few more bills before the guys get out. We will be right back here at Wednesday Night Race for Real with skid cars coming right up.
Aeroflow, famous for our massive range of hose, fittings and performance products. Air filters, oil filters, fittings, engine and transmission parts, fuel systems, tanks, silicone hose, exhaust, air conditioning, turbo and nitrous accessories and more. Get your free catalogue and shop online now at aeroflowperformance.com.
All right, Stuart, looks like we've got a few Burnout cars lined up down there. What do we got, 5, 6 cars?
Yeah, I think we've got to... I'm about to go down and count, but I'll tell you what, we've got some killer cars out there. I can't wait to see this Capri actually hit the drag strip. How is everyone tonight? You guys good? Hey guys, we've got people watching from all around the world. There's a bloke watching from South Africa. There's people watching from all around Australia.
We got people from the Netherlands, Stu.
Yeah, the Netherlands. Yeah,
yep.
They're tuned in as well.
Wow.
So, Sydney Dragway, I got a question for you. Are we the burnout capital of Australia? Absolutely. We've got the killer cars here in Sydney. I'll tell you what, guys, we welcome Sean Davies back in the Commodore. The Collini Motorsports crew here. There any of the Collini fans up in the stands? I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to see those guys on the pad. Royce Forrester back again, backing it up from Tyre Thrashing Thursday. We're going to kick it off with the Ute throwing rods. Oh, a bit of a barbecue there for throwing rods.
You reckon it might have lived up to its name, Stu, throwing rods, or what?
Eco the world, yes, but we don't like to see barbecue. But you know what? He loved it.
Hey, Reese, I promised to not leave a mess on the pad. Sorry, bro. And don't get too grumpy, Mr. Grumpy.
Great stuff there from Try and Rod. Sydney Dragway, make some noise.
Doesn't matter how many times I see it, Stu, every time a Burnout guy blows his motor, he's happy about it. It's probably the only form of motorsport where you're going to see that, right? I absolutely love it. Give it up for Throw and Rod, Sydney Dragway.
Oh, dear. Well, I'll tell you what, Pat, an interesting story coming up now. We've got the two-way cranes. Capri about to come out. It's actually got a 390 cubed Cleveland in it that was built by Sam Fennick from West End Performance 15 years ago. The driver's name is Frank. It's a left-hand drive Ford Capri, and he's about to let loose on the Burnout pad.
Bring it on, Stu. Left-hand drive Capri. That's, yeah, okay. Awesome. Oh, you think it's proper English, Benny? Yeah, left-hand drive. Old drag car, I think. Yeah. All right, give him a round of applause, Sydney Dragway. I know there's some rain falling out there, but that fella gave it his best shot. It's his first time out in a very long time in what looks like a new combination. So, give it up for the Capri. Good to see everyone giving it a shot. I'm not exactly sure where this rain came from, but yeah, it's caught everyone by surprise, unfortunately. So, I think sadly we're going to have to call it quits. So, a bit of a shame. But to everyone that arrived here at Sydney Dragway this evening, for Aeroflow Performance Race for Real. Thank you very much for coming to the track. Thank you very much for everyone for tuning in to the live stream on YouTube and Facebook. Big thanks to the international viewers. We will be back once more next week for the Christmas-themed Wednesday night Race for Real. So if you're planning on coming down to Sydney Dragway, get a bit of tinsel on your car, wear an elf costume, look like Santa Claus in a V8-powered sleigh or whatever it may be, get on down here and you'll get a discounted entry to Race for Real, brought to you by Aeroflow Performance here at Sydney Dragway. Stewie, there was a short-lived but wet finish down there for you in the burnouts, but, mate, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Yeah, it certainly does. I think it took everybody by surprise just how quick the water came in. It's a bit of a shame that we couldn't get all the burnout cars out on the track, but nevertheless, it was a great night of racing, and as Pat said, next week it is the Christmas party, so hope to see lots of families here and everybody enjoying the sights and sounds of Aeroflow Race for Real. That's it, Stu. And thanks again for joining us tonight. We will see you on the next one. Drive safe.